Chapter 51. Su Yinchi went to school to check the status of Li Xiying's strawberry potted plants. The tricolor minerals at the bottom of the potted plants had disappeared, and the originally underdeveloped potted plants were now growing more densely, with the pink and white flesh turning bright red and emitting a rich fruity aroma. Oh my god! This is the first time I have grown strawberries of this quality. Li Xiying jumped up with joy. Her excitement attracted the attention of others. Seeing the strawberry potted plants growing so well, they all asked, Li Xiying, how did you do it? Teach us quickly. Li Xiying said embarrassedly, it shouldn't be my credit, it was the eldest lady who helped. She wouldn't be so stupid as to think that she could change the growth trend of the strawberry potted plants by watering and fertilizing them as usual. When Su Yinchi was mentioned, the classmates stopped talking. They didn't think Su Yinchi would tell them the secret of planting, and they all left tactfully. The energy of the minerals can improve the growth trend of plants and improve the quality of plant growth. Su Yinchi's guess was verified, and she stared at the school greening outside the window in a trance. She couldn't help but wonder, how did those plants grow? Thinking of this, she couldn't help but walk out of the classroom, picked up a small shovel, found a secluded green area, shoveled twice quickly, and a corner of the black ore appeared. A planter suddenly walked into the empty green area. Hey, classmate, don't destroy public property at will. What are you digging there? Su Yinchi stopped, pressed the black crystal ore into the soil, stood up, and explained calmly, my potted plants are short of soil, so I came here to dig some. The planter frowned, looked at the soil shoveled in Su Yinchi's hand, and then looked at the small pit left in the green belt. There was no suspicious trace, so he said, if there is no soil, go by planting soil. The soil of the school is also public property. Don't destroy it at will in the future. Every plant is very precious. If the growth of an entire plant is affected because of you, it will cause great losses to the school. I'm sorry, Su Yinchi said. The planter continued to educate Su Yinchi, and only let her go after she repeatedly assured him that she would not dig the soil in the school again. Another conjecture was confirmed, and Su Yinchi was in a heavy mood. She couldn't help but have conspiracy theories. If the energy of minerals can affect the fertility of the soil and the growth of plants, then the interstellar land has become so barren because of excessive mining by humans, which is completely self-inflicted. No! To be more precise, all interstellar people pay for the small number of mineral wealth owners. Minerals, as an energy source, are firmly in the hands of the nobles and the royal family. They mine on a large scale, causing the energy in the soil to be lost, the land to become barren, and the plants to grow poorly, causing the entire interstellar human beings to be unable to eat natural food grown with expensive minerals, and can only drink cheap artificial nutrient solution to survive. Thinking in a more serious direction, it is even possible that the general lower mental power of civilians than that of nobles is not because the civilians are stupid or have genetic problems. The reason is very simple, that is, they eat artificial products all day long and do not take in enough energy. It's ridiculous. The Department of Agriculture established for the study of agriculture is like a joke. Those nobles don't want anyone to produce results. Or maybe the reason why this major was established is to train a group of people like the planter today, who conscientiously keep secrets for the upper class. Do the professors of the Department of Agriculture know about this? Su Yinchi couldn't help but come to the dean's office. Seeing Su Yinchi coming, the dean took off his reading glasses and asked, what's wrong? Su Yinchi, what do you want to talk to me about? Su Yinchi sat opposite the dean. Dean, I have an idea for research. You say. Dean, I have a guess. The reason why the interstellar is so barren now is not because of the seed mutation that everyone guessed. Maybe there is something wrong with the soil. When this was said, the dean was obviously stunned. He didn't expect that the young girl in front of him could actually propose a new research direction regardless of the mainstream research trend. Some light burst out of the dean's turbid eyes, and he looked so energetic. He thought that this student must have researched something. However, after a while he said, how do you know that your guess has not been studied by so many professors? It's just that it's a dead end. Su Yinchi raised his eyebrows. The dean's slightly resentful eyes revealed the answer. This dead end is not a failure in scientific research, but a desperate situation in reality. After all, the dean was just a powerless civilian in the past. In other words, few nobles have set foot in the entire Department of Agriculture. Even if there are, most of them are like Ningyu, who come to the Imperial Military Academy to gild themselves, rather than really liking agriculture and taking it as a future research direction. Su Yinchi is an exception. She really likes agriculture, and is the first and only noble to top the list in the Department of Agriculture. The dean sighed, as he watched Su Yinchi walk out of the office. Maybe everyone shouldn't put all their hopes on a little girl. The theoretical knowledge she learned every day was all wrong options that had long been ruled out. What a blow this must be to her. If Su Yanqi gave up like this, she would not be Su Yanqi. The difference between her and other students in the Department of Agriculture, or the dean, is that she has money. She has 50 million points, which is 50 million star coins. This money is enough for her to carry out an ambitious plan. After leaving the dean's office, she went to the Capital Star sales office without stopping, where she could buy various planets. As soon as Su Yanqi entered, the staff came forward and asked, "What kind of planet do you want to buy?" The staff took Su Yanqi to the holographic projection room to view the projections of various planets, and pointed to the one closest to the capital star and said, "This is the latest discovered original star. It is very popular now. Many people are interested in it. The price is 50 million. This price made Su Yanqi stunned. Are there any cheaper ones? Many customers gave up buying because of the price. The staff continued to introduce the next one skillfully. Although the location of this one is not very good, there is a special plant on the planet, which blooms beautifully, and there are also several tricolor mines. The price is 5 million. Are there any cheaper ones? The staff probably knew Su Yanqi's financial situation, and turned to introduce a small and ordinary planet. This planet with no special features, 750,000. Are there any cheaper ones? Su Yanqi looked around. Are the conditions a little worse? The staff suddenly realized, do you need a planet to dispose of garbage? Then you can take a look at the abandoned mining planets in the discount area. The original price is 200,000 per planet, and now it is 50% off, only 100,000 per planet. In a corner, Su Yanqi saw hundreds of gray little planets. She looked at these cute little balls with joy, pointed to a few of them and said, "This is it, give me 10. "Ah?" The staff member's smile almost broke, and she kindly reminded, "Guest, 10 waste stars cost 1 million, you might as well buy an ordinary star." In her opinion, it's a loss to spend 10,000 to buy waste stars. These waste stars have no other use except as trash cans. Not to mention that someone bought 10 at a time. Even if all the garbage in the entire galaxy is collected, there are still less than 10 waste stars to put away. I want these 10. Su Yanqi clicked on the smart brain, where to pay? Although the staff did not understand, they still respected the customer's choice, and quickly prepared the contract for 10 planets. After a series of procedures, Su Yanqi added 10 waste stars to his name. Lu Yunfei happened to walk in and saw Su Yanqi put away the contract panel, and walked out in a good mood. She rolled her eyes, and asked the staff who came to receive her, what planet did she buy? According to her specifications, give me a better one. The staff was stunned. Lu Yunfei was not an easy customer to serve. She carefully confirmed, the customer just bought 10 useless planets. Miss Lu, are you sure you want to follow that specification? What? Lu Yunfei seemed to have heard a big joke. After receiving such a heavy news, she was no longer in the mood to choose a planet. She said to the staff, "No, just buy the one I saw last time. Sign the contract quickly, and don't delay me." The staff completed the formalities for Lu Yunfei in 2 minutes. Lu Yunfei immediately returned to school and chatted with the noble sisters. Guess who I met today? Who? Su Yanqi. Guess what she did? What did she do? She bought 10 useless stars. Ah? Do you think she was rejected and went insane? The news that Su Yanqi bought 10 useless stars spread all over the city thanks to Lu Yunfei's efforts. Su Cheng and Shinja heard the news together. Su Cheng almost choked to death, while Shinja said disdainfully, "Don't tell me these things in the future." When it reached Ningxu's ears, he was also very curious about the reason why Su Yanqi did this, and asked Ningyu, "Do you know why she bought useless stars?" Ningyu was playing games, and shook his head. "You are useless. You didn't even know this when you were sitting in front of her?" Ningyu cried out in injustice. "That's my sister how could she report her whereabouts to me?" Even the dean of the Department of Agriculture heard a few words. The dean was as anxious as an ant on a hot pot, and urgently convened a department meeting. "Think about it, what should we do now?" Su Yanqi was stimulated. "We all have an unshirkable responsibility for this. In fact, this child is quite talented. He can actually discover the secret of the soil by his own ability. How did you adjust your mood when you learned about the soil problem? Sleep. Drink. It's fine like this. Maybe Su's way of adjustment is revenge consumption? Hey! That's 1 million to buy a waste star. It hurts to think about it. Even the salary of a professor is only 500,000 yuan a year, but Su Yanqi spent it with just a flick of her finger. At this moment, Su Yanqi, who still didn't know that she had become an all-star in a different way, was using points to buy silver ghost flowers. It cost 1 million to purchase waste stars, which was just a small amount of money for her. Next, she would spend a lot of money. Only 5 million was left as a reserve, and the other 44 million was all used to buy silver ghost flowers. A total of 4,400 silver ghost flowers were purchased. She planned to plant 440 ghost flowers on each planet, and first cultivate the abandoned mineral veins. Once the mineral veins were cultivated, she could start the planting business. Chapter 52. The smallest area of the 10 waste planets is about 748,000,000 square kilometers. Each planet can only grow 400 silver ghost flowers. The number is too small, just like throwing a grain of sand into the sea. The only source of money now is the system mine. There are many new mines. Su Yinchi thought that she could only work hard to make slave miners mine for her. Although the slave miners did not bring any drops, the points she got doubled, which was a great profit. So, Su Cheng found that from a certain day, the Yun family, the Lu family, the Ning family and herself entered the mysterious space to mine at 7 o'clock in the evening. Su Yinchi didn't know where to get many mines. Tens of thousands of people dug every day, but the number of mines did not decrease significantly. When the people from several major families met, they found that they were all carrying heavy loads when they didn't know. It's so strange. Lu Yunfei's brother Lu Baoan said that the scene was so big that he had basically ruled out the hand of the enemy. Did the head of your Yun family find anything when he was looking for people? Ningsu asked. He didn't understand the current situation either. He always felt that it was related to someone, but this speculation was too absurd. As soon as the thought came out, he immediately extinguished it. The Su family might be that strong, but Su Yinchi should not have the ability to make 3 families do hard labor. Ningsu believed that such a thing should not exist in this world. Who is so bored? If you have this ability, just go and dominate the world, why target us? Yun Shang muttered dissatisfiedly. His words made his brother Yun Duan have a guess. Yun Shang is right. If someone really has such ability, the empire would have been in chaos long ago. I'm afraid this is. It's the royal family. Lu Baoan's face darkened. Apart from the royal family, they couldn't find anyone else who would use such a supernatural ability to torture the nobles, but did not do anything to affect the rule of the empire. How could they do this? Idiots! What did we do? Lu Yunfei cursed. Fei, be careful. Lu Baoan scolded. If it was really the royal family's method, then this move was already a warning to them. Maybe there were surveillance cameras everywhere to monitor their every move. Su Cheng is very uncomfortable now. She clearly knows all the truth, but she can't tell this group of fools who are facing a great enemy. In fact, there are such boring people in the world who have such supernatural abilities, but only use them to satisfy their own selfish desires for revenge. This person is Su Yinchi. Why is God always blind? If she has this space, she will definitely do better than Su Yinchi. She will make the space play its due value. With her ability, it is not impossible to overthrow the empire and establish herself as a king. Just thinking about it, Su Cheng felt that her blood was boiling, and she was about to have an orgasm. But the reality is that the owner of the space is Su Yinchi. Su Yinchi neither used the space to play politics nor to win over the nobles. Instead, she made enemies everywhere, including 3 noble groups. After mining for 5 consecutive days, Su Cheng felt that she could not let Su Yinchi be willful anymore. She was about to vomit for mining, and the 3 nobles were increasingly resentful of the mastermind behind the scenes. If it were not impossible to catch Su Yinchi, she would have wanted to tie Su Yinchi up and not let her go out to cause trouble. But the reality is that she may not even touch Su Yinchi's hair before she goes back to the space to mine. If the hard way doesn't work, she can only use the soft way. The only way Su Cheng can think of is to let Su's mother persuade Su Yinchi. After all, Su Yinchi grew up in the Su family since she was a child, and she will listen to Su's mother's words to some extent. As long as Su Yinchi restrains herself a little, she will feel relieved. Su Cheng is worried about this family. At night, she deliberately finds Su's mother. Mom, can I sleep with you today? Su's mother rarely feels her daughter's clinginess. The eldest daughter is spoiled, but she is very independent. The second daughter came back, and sometimes relied on her to act coquettishly, but she disappeared when she turned her head. For so many years, she has not felt the feeling of being so dependent on her daughter. She has never done such an intimate thing with her daughter. Su's mother agreed immediately, abandoned her husband and ran to sleep with her daughter at night, and started to make the bed early. The mother and daughter had just finished the SPA and lay down. Su's mother was still talking to her daughter. Suddenly, there was no sound around her. Sue's mother called out twice in confusion. Chung Chung? Chung Cho? Did she fall asleep? She tilted her head to the side, and then widened her eyes. The quilt beside her sank. A living person just disappeared out of thin air, without a sound. Only some residual warmth remained, indicating that her daughter lying next to her was not a dream. She got up in a panic, without even taking off the mask, and ran out stumblingly. She called the housekeeper at the fastest speed in her life to retrieve the villa surveillance. In the surveillance, everything in the villa was normal, and there was no suspicious person, and there was no evidence that Su Chung had gone out. In other words, Su Chung suddenly disappeared in the bedroom. Sue's mother, shocked, the incident was so strange that she did not make a fuss. She called her husband and asked him to go home quickly, and she went back to the bedroom to wait. Who knows, the person might reappear by himself. As for the eldest daughter, she was afraid of scaring her, and did not disturb her rest. From 7 p.m. to 12 p.m., after waiting for 5 hours, Su Chung finally lay back on the bed. This time, Sue's mother did not blink and witnessed the whole process of Su Chung from nothing to something, but she still didn't know why, as if an invisible curtain was suddenly pulled open, and when she reacted, the person was already there. Sue's mother hugged Su Chung in fear, and made sure that her daughter was still warm and not injured, and then began to ask, "Where did you go during the time you disappeared?" Sue's father put out the cigarette in his hand, and listened carefully to Su Cheng's answer. Su Chung took a breath, looked at Sue's father, and then at Sue's mother, and saw that both of them were worried, and her heart was warm. She prepared her words for a while before saying, "I entered a mysterious space to mine." What? Sue's mother suspected that she was old and had hearing problems. Just went to mine? Another space? Sue's father looked solemn. Yes. Su Chung nodded. When did it start? Sue's father smelled something unusual. Actually, it started a long time ago, just a few days after I returned to the Su family. Su Chung paused, looking at Sue's mother, hesitant to speak. Just say it if you have anything to say. Sue's father couldn't stand this timid look. What does my daughter of the Su family need to be afraid of? But Su Cheng's next words made Sue's father feel that he had spoken too early. That space seems to belong to my sister. Sue's father didn't understand who sister was referring to for a while, but later realized that it was his eldest daughter. Cece? Sue's mother hesitated. No way. Su Chung lowered her head, looking sad because she was not trusted. Sue's mother thought she had heard her. After all, her daughter had just experienced something strange. Mom, what do you mean? Why do you think it was my sister? Su Chung was silent for a while before saying, because I saw my sister in the space, and she told me in person that she was the one who pulled me into the space because... About the broken engagement? Sue's father took over the conversation. Sue's father and mother looked at each other. It wasn't that they didn't trust their daughter, but the credibility of such a thing itself was very low. Their eldest daughter has such a magical space that can make people teleport, and there are mines in the space, but if the second daughter lied, what does it mean to her? Seeing that Sue's father and mother had not spoken and looked indigestion, Su Chung continued to add fuel to the fire. Because a lot of things happened later, my sister dragged many people from the Yun family, the Lu family, and the Ning family into it. I'm worried. What? Sue's father and mother exclaimed. How many people are in the space? About 10,000 or 20,000. Sue's father suddenly realized that it was no wonder that the heads of the three families always got together and whispered these 2 days. Usually, they would argue for hours because of political disagreements. These 2 days, they left in a hurry after reporting their work. It turned out that they were going to mine at night. As expected of his daughter, she did a good job. Ahem. Sue's father cleared his throat. It's too late now. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Sue's father felt that this matter was not big or small, and it was not impossible to solve it slowly in the next 2 days. Su Chung, is there no one to make a decision for her? At dawn, Su Yanqi got up from the bed. After the unremitting efforts of the slave miners, she already had more than 15,000 silver ghost flowers. Next, she planned to recruit some reliable planters to plant the flowers. Su Yanqi directly posted a recruitment post. Recruiting planters, 100 days, planting on wasteland planets. Those who are interested can contact the poster privately. As soon as the post was published, it was on the hot list, and people kept replying. Is Miss Su really crazy? Is she looking for someone to open up wasteland? What can be planted on abandoned mining planets? Did she really buy 10 waste planets? If she can develop waste planets, I will eat them. This kind of post is like a fishing post. Who would really believe this kind of play with such a young lady, who is so idle and ignorant of the sufferings of the world? You will definitely not get any money at that time. Wei Wei raised his hand. Is it really 100 days? Yes, Su Yinchi replied. The person who was replied was flattered and quickly said, I want to apply. Can you issue an internship certificate? Yes. Raise your hand. Is it a long-term job? Can you sign a 3-party agreement? After planting the silver ghost flower, there is a series of follow-up maintenance work. Su Yinchi replied. You can sign a 3-party agreement, and you will get commission if you do a good job. I try it. I want to try it too. Lu Ruoling is a former graduate of the Department of Agriculture. The Department of Agriculture, as an interstellar freezing major, is so unpopular that basically no one cares about it. Even the Imperial Military Academy, which ranks first, cannot change the current situation of the difficulty of graduates from the Department of Agriculture to find jobs. When Lu Ruoling was choosing her major, she resolutely chose the least popular major in the Imperial Military Academy because of her long-standing love for prestigious schools. She thought that as long as she could enter the highest interstellar institution, nothing would be bad. Unfortunately, reality gave this ignorant and simple little girl a hard slap in the face. She was born in an ordinary family. Her parents were ordinary factory workers. They had spent all their spare money to support her college. Seeing her parents working hard from dawn to dusk, Lu Ruoling vowed to earn money to support the family after graduation and reduce the burden on her parents. But after 4 years of hard study, she was unemployed after graduation. The employment direction of the Department of Agriculture is plantation technicians. However, the interstellar soil is poor, and the planting industry has not been carried out on a large scale. Only some nobles will open their own plantations to satisfy their appetite. However, what is not matched is that all universities have opened the Department of Agronomy, which leads to an oversupply of agricultural students. Commerce students like Lu Ruoling who do not know how to please the nobles will miss out on the corresponding professions. Other professions give priority to professional counterparts. For a time, the extra agricultural students have nowhere to go. Lu Ruoling has been looking for a job for a year. She has submitted countless resumes, but all of them have been ignored. Seeing that the new batch of agricultural students is about to graduate, the remaining former students, will become less and less popular. When she was desperate, she found a recruitment post in the school. She was afraid of missing the opportunity, so she immediately chatted with the poster and sent her resume. The other party replied after a long time. The resume is good? You have won the first prize in the planting competition. Do you have work experience? This question made Lu Ruoling feel cold, and she replied truthfully. No. New employees will have a 1-week probation period, and the salary will remain the same during the adaptation period. Is this acceptable? Lu Ruoling originally thought that this job was a no-go, but things took a turn for the better. It was only a 1-week probation period, which of course she could accept. Moreover, she would also receive salary during the probation period, so she would not suffer any loss. The work location is on a wasteland planet, with incomplete infrastructure and harsh conditions. Can you accept it? No problem. After this sentence, the other party did not reply for a long time. Lu Ruoling thought that she replied too quickly, making the other party think that she was perfunctory, so she tried to send another message. It is graduation season now, and it is difficult to find a job. As long as I can get a salary and support myself, I can do it. Su Yinchi saw this message after replying to the messages one by one. She thought that this employee has a future. Fortunately, she met her. If it were someone else, they might use this message to control her and make her work like a cow and a horse. Sign the contract and gather at the port of the capital star tomorrow. After working hard for a whole morning, Su Yinchi recruited a total of 3,000 planners, including interns and long-term employees. Each person is responsible for about 5 silver ghost flowers, which can achieve careful care and precise planting. Su Yinchi divided them into 2 groups and prepared to board the Way Star in batches. After dealing with these things, Su Yinchi went to school to take a week off. Studying is no longer important to her. The matter of the Way Star is more urgent. Just as she was about to go out, she saw the 3 people in the family gathered together today for the first time, sitting in the living room, as if waiting for her. Cici, Mom and Dad have something to discuss with you. Su's mother adjusted her tone, trying not to look like she was blaming him. Su Yinchi looked at Su Cheng, and her intuition told her that this older sister had done something. Su's father got straight to the point. I heard that you have a space. Su Yinchi raised her eyebrows. Did Su Cheng tell her parents about this? She thought that with Su Cheng's personality, she would not tell others about this, but would find a way to occupy her space for herself. Su Chung felt that Su Yanqi had been looking at her, and trembled. Mom found it herself. I didn't tell anyone. Su Chung explained. After she finished explaining, she started to feel upset again. Why should she explain to Su Yanqi, even if she said it on purpose? Yes, there is one. Su Yanqi didn't deny it. I'm a little busy today, I explain it to you later. She hasn't figured out how to tell her parents about this, or to what extent. We don't care about the space, but you have to be careful with those noble children and don't make trouble. Su's father reminded. Oh, okay. Su Chung thought that after Su's father persuaded her, Su Yanqi would give up letting the nobles mine, but she didn't expect that she would enter the space to mine as usual that night. Su Cheng's teeth were almost broken. Why is Su Yanqi so stubborn? He doesn't listen to his father. The employment report of the Department of Agriculture of the Imperial Military Academy has just been released. This time, the recruitment season is still in the brewing stage, and the employment rate of students in the Department of Agriculture has reached 100%, which is the best employment work of the Department of Agriculture in history. And every employed student is very satisfied with the current job, and said that they do not plan to change jobs in the next 3 years. The dean was also shocked. When he saw the employment units, thousands of graduates' employment units were very similar. Waste star number 1, waste star number 2, waste star number 3, waste star number 10. Thinking of the recent news that Su Yanqi bought 10 waste stars, the dean almost instantly guessed the boss behind the employment unit. He was really worried about Su Yanqi's situation, and he was really worried that this job did not look so reliable. That's a waste planet. Knowing clearly that the planting industry needs the energy of minerals, why would she buy 10 waste planets and go there to do planting? Knowing that there are tigers in the mountain, but going there anyway, this is a dead end. After thinking it over, the dean was worried and decided to go to the work unit to inspect in the name of the college. He wanted to see how to plant things on this waste planet. It would be best if he could persuade Su Yanqi to come back. Chapter 53. The dean was very quick on his business trip. 2 days after making the decision, he booked a ticket to the waste planet. On the spaceship, he repeatedly psychologically persuaded himself. There are various possibilities for an abandoned mining planet. It could be a barren land, a devastated land, or a place full of bones. Or is the most important energy source in the interstellar world, and miners are the coolies at the bottom of the interstellar world. Wherever the capitalists pass by, anything can happen. Perhaps it was because his psychological assumptions were too low that when he really set foot on the land of the waste planet, he felt that it was not as dead as he imagined. There are many lives here, but humans call such planets waste planets. Hello, Dean. The one who greeted the dean was Meng Sheng, a student from the previous year of the Department of Agriculture. Su Yanqi was waiting at the port early. As soon as the dean got off the spaceship, she led people in. How do you want to inspect, Dean? She got straight to the point. The dean blinked. This is not a problem that should be solved by the enterprise. What do you want to show others? What kind of corporate image do you want to establish? Can't you handle the inspection? Why do you have to deal with yourself when you come to him? Just take a walk. The dean didn't want to put too much pressure on Su Yanqi. Although this outstanding student was not cautious, she at least took this step. Su Yanqi nodded and followed the dean up the hill. The dean was so tired that he was out of breath. Along the way, he didn't even see the shadow of the planting area. After climbing to the top of the mountain, with great difficulty, the dean saw the planters and the planting area. More than half of the planters were students he had taught. When he appeared, it didn't seem like he was here to inspect, but more like a fan meeting. Many people greeted him with high spirits. In this state, they should like this job very much. The dean had a good initial impression of this place, and his eyes softened when he looked at Su Yanqi. He was an expert in agronomy, and after a glance, he found the peculiarity of this planting area. From the perspective of terrain layout, this planting area adopts a common zoning management mode, and the special thing is that each zone is divided into hexagons. In the central hexagon, there are 5 flowers and plants that he has never seen before. Surrounding the 6 sides of the hexagon are 6 larger hexagonal areas, which have not yet started planting. What are you going to plant there? The dean asked. Grow some vegetables. The dean nodded. It can be seen that Su Yanqi is really doing this with her heart, but her behavior is puzzling. Logically speaking, flowers are more delicate and more difficult to survive than vegetable seeds. Shouldn't we plant vegetables first here? He asked. The dean doesn't believe that such a simple truth will be forgotten by the university bully. Su Yanqi kept it a secret. Guess. The professor is so smart, he will definitely figure it out in one go. The dean, The reality is that he was overestimated. He had never seen such a layout. let alone such a poor land to plant flowers. It is said that there is only a thought difference between genius and madness. What others cannot understand is either really disordered, irregular, and meaningless, or there is another intention, but it is too ordinary, and the IQ is not high, so it cannot be understood. The former is obviously more likely, but the dean believes the latter. Su Yanqi's approach must have a meaning. He is very good at judging people. This student has always been meticulous about academic matters, and sometimes his sudden quick wit is more clever than his. The dean stroked his beard and looked at the staff room that was converted from a former miner's dormitory and said, "I think the conditions here are pretty good. I'm here for 2 days to experience it." Su Yanqi was surprised. "You didn't say that before." "Oh, stingy guy. I'm a big professor. Am I not more capable than these little guys? I can also help you take care of the plants." When Su Yanqi heard that he could get free labor, he immediately had no objection. But she was happy, while the new employees, who heard the conversation between the two, felt miserable. A thick-skinned male planter complained, "Professor, you are such a big professor, don't compete with us for a job. We finally found a job, but we only make 3,000 a month, which is not enough for you to buy cultivation soil." The dean glanced at the speaker and said angrily, "Who said I want a salary? Work for free?" The young people who finally found a class, and have not been beaten by society, have their umbrellas torn off by the teachers who taught them before. The employees looked at Su Yanqi with fear, fearing that she would agree with the dean's statement in the next second and let everyone work for free. It was too terrible. They didn't dare to think about it at all. "Dean, don't involve him." Su Yanqi just found it funny that the dean had such a down to her side. "Oh, I really don't need that little money. Just observe your flower for me and make a record. Is that feasible?" the dean asked earnestly. Su Yanqi was also thinking about studying all aspects of the silver ghost flower. With someone together, she would have more brains and more ways. She readily agreed. The two hit it off. Seeing that their wages were saved, the employees breathed a sigh of relief and hurried to water and fertilize. Even the dean personally came to the scene. If they didn't do well, they would be scolded. Sure enough, one unlucky guy was caught by the dean. "You were distracted during class. How should you apply fertilizer? Put it a little to the side, otherwise it will corrode the roots. How could you be recruited if you are so unreliable? You might as well study for another 4 years." Su Yanqi touched her nose. Isn't it her who recruited him? She felt scolded. However, she also found a problem. Not everyone is like her, who is proficient in planting in the 2nd year of college. Some people have no chance to practice at all. Most of them are just talking on paper, and there are a lot of problems in practice. Having the dean to help check can just make up for this. If there are more professors, she will soon have a group of mature growers. However, it's just thinking in her mind. The professors are busy every day, so how can they have the time and mood to come to the wasteland to plant? Silver silk ghost flower adapts well to the wasteland, with a survival rate of up to 95%. The loss of 5% is a big number for Su Yanqi, but it is still within an acceptable range. Su Yanqi hadn't figured out how to deal with these dead flowers yet, so the dean asked for them and prepared to take them back to the laboratory and put them in a specific environment to see if they could help revive them. "That's great, Dean. Thank you for your hard work." "It's okay. Those surviving flowers are delicate, and I dare not take samples for experiments. For these scrap ones, we should give it a try. Maybe the flowers can be saved and there will be new progress in the research." Then I wait for good news from the dean. Su Yanqi certainly believes in the dean's ability. He is one of the most powerful people in the interstellar planting world. If he can't save them, then those silver ghost flowers will really be beyond help. After the dean left, Su Yanqi continued to carry out the follow-up planting work. After the silver ghost flower survives, it can produce a random ore every day. The ore usually appears randomly under the adjacent soil, some deep and some shallow. With a continuous supply of ore, the soil has sufficient energy and is ready to welcome the seeds. Su Yanqi loves to eat strawberries, so Waystar number 1 mainly grows strawberries. The dean, who was busy treating the silver ghost flower, learned that Su Yanqi was going to start growing vegetables, and picked some fruit trees and flowers from his remaining research materials to give to Su Yanqi. These things are not easy to grow and burn money. The dean himself also kept the plants in the refrigerator. Maybe Su Yanqi can create another miracle. The dean thought, what if a blind cat meets a dead mouse and happens to plant a fruit tree? Most of those silver gray flowers survived, which shows that even in the worst conditions, plants can always find their own way to survive. Other professors in the Department of Agriculture got the news from the dean, opened the seed bank one after another, and generously contributed their own collections of seeds. Attached to the seeds were the professor's blessings. Su Yanqi, work hard, we are counting on you. The family also sent the latest generation of planetary protection shields and a full set of security systems, with messages attached as well. Under the long and flamboyant words of encouragement from her parents, there were also 4 short words, all the best. It was written by Su Chung at first glance, and Su Yanqi could imagine her unhappy expression. Knowing that there was such a group of people behind her to support her, she felt full of strength and energy. Su Yanqi planted the seed she got, but it was not enough, so she bought some miscellaneous vegetable seeds at the seed mall. Most of them are vegetables. They sprout in 1 day, and grow into small tender vegetables in 3 or 4 days. They are green and juicy, full of water and nutrition, and look delicious. The day when the first batch of vegetables was harvested was very special to Su Yanqi. She set it as the biggest celebration in the territory, the food festival. She planned to hold some activities on this festival to commemorate today's first harvest. The first batch of vegetables was divided into many portions by Su Yanqi. 1 portion was sent to her family, 1 portion was sent to each professor of the Department of Agriculture, and some was sent to the students of the Department of Agriculture. Of course, there was a portion for her own employees. The remaining vegetables were directly taken to the school by Su Yanqi as a welfare broadcast, and the vegetables produced were promoted by the way. These will be sold in the future. The Imperial Military Academy was completely crazy today. A vegetable tasting point appeared in the campus square. It was a small stall specially set up by the Department of Agriculture. As long as you join the group, you can buy a fresh vegetable with 5-star coins. The Imperial Military Academy students, who heard the news, initially thought someone was spreading rumors. After all, the price of vegetables in the interstellar space is high, and ordinary people can hardly afford it. With the mentality of joining in the fun, the students flocked to the campus square. Wang Yin was the first one to try it. After joining the group, he quickly paid 5-star coins, and then there was a fresh vegetable with water droplets in his hand. Oh my god, it's really freshly picked. It can really be exchanged. Wang Yin held the vegetable, took a deep breath, and his mouth secreted saliva unconsciously. To be honest, his family is ordinary and can have enough food and clothing, but they will not choose such expensive natural food as the staple food, so he has never tasted the taste of vegetables. First, I sent a message to my friends. Brothers, hurry up. The Department of Agriculture is getting vegetables. Yizhua, stop doing experiments. Lu Hao, stop working part-time. Everyone, go to the campus square to get vegetables. Hurry up. More and more people are coming. I've already got some. Below the text, there is a picture of Huang Yin holding green vegetables. For a moment, the other 2 people in the 3-person dormitory group were blown out, and the group was very lively. Really? The Department of Agriculture is so generous? Oh my god, another friend also sent a message. It's true. Oh my god, someone posted a message. Damn it. Lu Hao forwarded the post, and the post was titled, I would like to call it the coolest episode of the Department of Agriculture. As soon as the post was sent, the popularity quickly rose, and many people posted pictures of the vegetables they received, showing off the natural food bought with 5-star coins. Raise your paw. Can people from other schools come to get them? It seems there is no limit, just join the group. Brother. Can't tell. Thank you, Brother Dei. After reading the post, Yizhua quickly put down the experimental materials, and sent a message to the small group on the way to the campus square. Someone from other schools is here. Hurry up and get it, otherwise it's gone. Lu Hao set a sad face emoticon. I don't have a chance, I'm on another planet. I can't get back, and if I get back, it's gone. Godfathers, leave a leaf for brothers to taste. Like this, word spread from 1 to 10, 10 to 100, and soon there was a long line at the tasting point. The entire campus square was filled with all kinds of people, some from the school, some from other nearby schools, and even some people from the society who got the news. For a time, the popularity of the Imperial Military Academy's 5-star coin vegetables went beyond the campus and directly topped the Star Network hot list, triggering a large-scale discussion. Su Yanqi didn't expect vegetables to be so powerful. She thought it would only explode in a small area, but she didn't expect it to directly gain nationwide popularity. The group chat was shared and reached full in more than 10 minutes. You need to open a membership to upgrade. Group chat can make money. Su Yanqi could only spend money to upgrade. In the end, she even established 30 groups to barely meet the needs of the enthusiastic interstellar people. The professors who received Su Yanqi's gift were very pleased to cook vegetables, and held a vegetable banquet in the Department of Agriculture. For the first time, the office was so full of living people. The campus square is just below the office. While eating, the dean couldn't help but sigh. This is the first time that the Department of Agriculture is so popular. That is to say, these little brats, who usually look down on the Department of Agriculture and spread the theory that agriculture is useless every day, now have something good and run faster than anyone else. After today, I see who will say that our Department of Agriculture is not good. Professor Wu opened the smart brain to take pictures as evidence. If anyone talked about agriculture in front of him, he would throw the picture away. If it weren't for agriculture, where would there be so many delicious foods in the world? At this moment, the professors felt a lot in their hearts, but they agreed on one thing. Su Yinchi was the right student. She will definitely change agriculture. The professors believed this point without a doubt. After all, she was the one who grew vegetables on the deserted planet, and she grew them so well. But farming consumes a lot of minerals. Can Su really stick to it for a long time? Compared to the mixed feelings of the professors in the Department of Agriculture, there is one person who is unhappy about the vegetable tasting incident. She is another celebrity in the school, Yun Fengxian. Today is the day she raised funds for charity. She happily held an auction, but only a few people participated. Everyone ran to the campus square to get vegetables. Yun Fengxian crushed the vegetables sent by the lackeys and sneered at these ignorant civilians. These civilians really have no kindness at all. Is a vegetable more important than a charity auction? So, civilians are civilians and can never become nobles. I really don't know why my father always wants to help these lower class people. What's the point of asking for their support? Chapter 54. After the vegetable tasting event, Su Yinchi's reputation in the Department of Agriculture quickly became popular, and she occupied a place on the school's list of celebrities. After Shinja, Ning Su, and Yun Fengxian, she became the fourth celebrity that everyone remembered. Countless interstellar people are waiting for this new star in agriculture to launch new products and discounts, so that everyone can have another chance to taste the delicious food on the tip of the tongue. Waiting for new products. What will be the next food? Vegetables are fine, and it would be better if there are better ones. If not, vegetables are also good. I heard that the strawberries grown by the eldest lady are very delicious. My friend in the Department of Agriculture is farming on the eldest lady's planet. She said that the eldest lady planted a whole planet of strawberries. Originally, everyone had no specific concept of Su Yinchi's farming level. Now they heard that she planted a planet of delicious strawberries. On the one hand, they were greedy, and on the other hand, they suddenly remembered the rumors not long ago. Miss, did you buy 10 useless stars? How can these be called useless stars? This is the origin of our great food. Miss, plant quickly. Get your wallet ready. Picture of a bulging piggy wallet. At that time, they all thought that Su Yinchi was emotionally hurt and could not accept the broken engagement, so she became mentally ill and did such an incredible thing as buying useless stars. Now that I think about it, it was not a whim, but a premeditated one. The queen finally got rid of the stumbling block and climbed the ladder of the plant kingdom. Well said. Applause. Su Yinchi found that when she walked on the way to school, there were always people pointing and talking about her, and she was watched by countless passers-by along the way. She pouted and walked up to a few girls, who didn't hide it at all, and asked, "Do I have horns on my head?" The 3 girls were stunned. They didn't expect to be called by the real owner. Several people held hands and shouted and jumped excitedly. Ask quickly. Ask, I'm embarrassed. Several girls pushed each other. Su Yinchi be like, "Sister, what are you doing?" Finally, worried that Su Yinchi would leave, a girl took on the role of a mouthpiece to communicate with Su Yinchi. "Miss, hello, we are your fans. We want to ask a question, is it okay?" Su Yinchi's hair was instantly smoothed by the word fans. Ask. When will the new products be available? Are there strawberries in the new order? Can you give me a small portion? I'm afraid it's too expensive to buy. Please, please. Su Yinchi was surrounded by 3 girls, and the 3 girls were talking so noisily that she felt like she was facing 300 people. The little mouth kept talking about the same question, and in the end, Su Yinchi didn't remember any of them. Don't worry, there will be new ones soon, and I will consider your suggestions. Yeah. That's great. Influenced by the 3 chattering and lively girls, Su Yinchi felt much better after being surrounded by people all the way. Tisk, it's just selling some vegetables, is it that serious? The little noble standing aside sneered. This is the common people, look at how ignorant they are. They are so happy to eat some leftover leaves. What did you say? One of the 3 girls with short hair said angrily. Forget it, Xiaogui, let's go. Xiaogui's temper is not that kind of soft. The first thing she learned in the slums is that if anyone bullies her, she must bully back fiercely. Don't leave anyone with the image of being weak and vulnerable. Bad people will not let you go just because you give in. What's wrong? Can't you say it? I say, you have become someone else's lackeys just because of a bite of vegetables. It's really embarrassing. That's it. Why make such a big fuss? Do you want to imitate Sister Fengxian? Sister Fengxian is really kind. She runs around for these common people, but doesn't get a word of praise. Why does she sell vegetables? Hearing Yun Fengxian's name, Xiaogui's arrogance subsided. She glanced at Su Yanqi and said, they are different, there is no need to compare them together. The eldest lady has never wanted to imitate anyone, but common people are also qualified to eat natural food, right? Shouldn't we be happy that the eldest lady shares the natural food exclusively for nobles with everyone? I believe that senior sister Yun will also be very happy. Isn't this the equality she wants? Both nobles and common people can eat vegetables. Su Yanqi didn't expect that her small action would have such a big impact, and even be interpreted as pursuing equality. Su Yanqi, whose real idea was just to expand her popularity, was really shocked. If a small action has such a big impact, maybe she can influence more people. Maybe it's not impossible to make the whole galaxy tremble for her. Yun Fengxian, another influential figure, who many civilians thought was standing on the united front, was not happy at the moment. She looked at Su Yanqi, who was surrounded by many people from a distance, walked over there, walked through the crowd, and bumped Su Yanqi's shoulder lightly. Excuse me. Hey, you must be Su Yanqi. Yun Fengxian smiled gently. I've wanted to see you for a long time. I'd like to thank you on their behalf. Your vegetables are really delicious. The civilians who were replaced were used to it, and were very excited to see the two goddesses standing together. In the same frame. I've already received their thanks, so there's no need to pass them on. Su Yanqi blocked it back. The first meeting between the two was full of gunpowder. Yun Fengxian and Su Yanqi passed by each other, and the smile instantly fell from the corner of her mouth. Why can this Su Yanqi be compared with Sister Fengxian? Yun Fengxian almost thought she had spoken her heart out, but it turned out to be just a complaint from a little follower. It's okay, it's just a temporary popularity. Yun Fengxian didn't believe that Su Yanqi's influence among the civilians could exceed hers, which had accumulated over the years. Yun Fengxian didn't realize the seriousness of the matter until she returned to the Yun family and found that the atmosphere at home was strangely cold to the extreme. Her mother and brother sat upright on the sofa. The lights in the living room were not bright, but no one dared to turn them on. The man sitting at the head was serious and disappeared in the darkness. Yun Fengxian exchanged glances with her mother, but didn't get any information. She cautiously and timidly called out, Dad. With a swoosh sound, a porcelain cup broke through the air and attacked her. She didn't dare to hide, and let the porcelain cup hit her forehead. Bright red blood gushed out, and the porcelain cup fell to the ground and broke into 5 petals. The sound of crackling almost made the breathing sound in the whole space disappear. Yun Shang, who was favored and not serious at all, didn't say anything. Yun Fengxian stood there, not daring to ask why, until the man in a higher position announced her crime. You still have the face to come back? Dad, what happened? Yun Fengxian wanted to know the truth. You don't even know what happened? You are really unworthy of being a member of my Yun family. These words were no less than a nail piercing Yun Fengxian's heart. It was obvious that her younger brother was not as good as her in every aspect, but she was always blamed. She bit her lip and didn't say anything, listening to Father Yun continue. I heard that a competitor appeared in the school. Father Yun's voice was icy and piercing. Yun Fengxian knew that if her answer could not satisfy her father, she would face his raging anger. When she thought of this, her eyes became more timid, and her throat swallowed unconsciously. Dad, Su Yanqi is just a stupid young lady, not to be afraid of. Father Yun's face was gloomy, and no expression could be seen. Really? He said. Then when Yun Fengxian was frightened, the table in front of her broke, and the exploding wood chips pierced her legs. The piercing pain from the pierced leg bone made Yun Fengxian silent. She lowered her head, and dared not breathe. In just a few days, her reputation among the common people has soared. You actually think she is not to be feared? Father Yun patted the dust off his body. I have trained you for so many years, but you really have not made any progress. You are as stupid as a pig. Yun Fengxian's lips trembled, but she did not dare to refute herself. Father is right. Humph. You don't need to agree with me. Yun Fengxian, you are the eldest daughter of the Yun family. You must play the role of the eldest daughter of the Yun family. Otherwise, you can't be the eldest daughter of the Yun family. There are many people who want to be the eldest daughter of the Yun family. I know, I will take care of it. Yun Fengxian gradually cooled down. Don't let me down. Throwing down the last words, Yun's father went upstairs. Yun's mother looked at her daughter, but in the end, she did not comfort her and left timidly. The pressure disappeared, and Yun Shang began to show off again. Seeing his excellent sister being taught a lesson by his father, he could not help but gloat over his misfortune. TSK, Yun Fengxian, can you do it? Yun Fengxian was afraid of her father, but not of this useless brother. She kicked a piece of wooden stick away, and the sharp end pierced into the wall behind Yun Shang, scratching his pants. Yun Shang was frightened. What are you barking about? Su Yanqi completed the leave of absence procedures and returned to the classroom to pack up her things. Someone suddenly asked, Miss, can we work for you after graduation? Su Yanqi packed half of her things and looked up at more than a dozen pairs of eager eyes. These classmates, whose faces she could not even remember at ordinary times, are a little more vivid now when they are separated. Welcome excellent people to join us, Su Yanqi said. After that, she continued to collect things, while other students were discussing excitedly. See, the eldest lady is not the kind of person who discriminates against commoners. Then why was she so arrogant before? What do you know? That's because she has difficulties. She is a noble. If she gets too close to commoners, she will be gossiped about. Otherwise, think about it, has the eldest lady bullied us like other nobles? Really not. Su Yanqi wanted to laugh when she heard her classmates' own imagination and words to whitewash herself, but then she felt sorry for them. They actually thought that not bullying was good, weren't they too easily satisfied? However, those were none of her business. For her, there was no distinction between commoners and nobles, only between useful people and useless people. She wanted to transform the 10 abandoned mining planets under her control into the largest interstellar plantation, leaving a brilliant mark in interstellar history. At this moment, Yun Fengxian, who was far away in the campus square, pressed the launch device in her hand, and a huge explosion came from the planting department, but it sounded like fairy music in her ears. Today, she taught Su Yanqi a truth: if you are not ruthless enough, don't touch other people's cakes. The earth shook, the building was about to collapse, and the screams of the students in the planting department were covered by the huge explosion shock wave and disappeared in the raging fire. Su Yanqi only felt that she began to have tinnitus, and could not hear any sound. Her skin was burned by fire, and she could even smell the fragrance of meat. It was a very scary thing, but her first thought was that it smelled good. Before she had time to panic, she heard the system explode. Emergency brake. Emergency brake. Target host is safe, Sol compatible. The planting department is a small department located in the westernmost corner of the campus, so when everyone arrived from a winding road, they saw a mess of ruins. How could this happen? The principal of the Imperial Military Academy was furious. Such a serious terrorist attack happened under his jurisdiction, which was a major challenge to his career. Find it out for me. What happened? Chapter 55. Shen Yunian was lying on the bed, dozing off, when his eyes suddenly opened. The dim environment blurred his pupils of shock, but he couldn't suppress the panic in his heart. He felt a foreign object entering his body, and the feeling was like a brown long-haired squirrel jumping around excitedly on his blood vessels. This thing that ran around in his territory without a single greeting gave him an inexplicably familiar feeling. He called out the name in a telepathic way. Su Yanqi? Doubt spread in his heart, but fortunately after calling out the name, he confirmed that it was Su Yanqi himself. Damn civilians. Where is this? In the strange, dark and cramped environment, Su Yanqi only felt a chill on her back, her hair stood up, and the alarm bells in her heart kept ringing, as if she was being stared at by a huge and terrifying monster. Hearing the familiar voice, she felt a little better, but not much better. She couldn't control the movements of her body, and ran around, trying to find a place that made her feel at ease. Su Yanqi rushed forward and passed by an abnormally hot place. Oh my god, it's hot, hot, hot. It was like entering the flaming mountain. Su Yanqi's soles were burned and painful, and he ran faster on tiptoe. Don't. Shen Yunian covered his legs. After running out with great difficulty, he ended up with a dead end. Su Yanqi could only return the same way and get burned again. Shen Yunian didn't react at all, and a ball of fluff passed through his thigh again. He groaned. Then, his hands itched uncontrollably, and the tingling sensation went from his shoulders to his fingertips, and from the back of his hands to his neck. It was coming from his legs and running up along his lower abdomen. Halfway through, he entered the fork in his arm. Shin Yunyan couldn't help but raise his right hand to press his neck, only to feel a slight bulge passing quickly. Can you stop for a moment? With Su Yanqi, he felt something was wrong with his body, especially the places where Su Yanqi ran, which were very itchy, but he couldn't scratch them. He wanted to scrape the itchy places on his body with a knife to stop the weird feeling. He was harassed from head to toe, and he relied on his very good endurance to endure it. Su Yanqi also had a headache, and she wanted to stop, but she couldn't control herself at all. When passing a bend, she didn't know what happened, but was pushed down by a huge force, pressed on her buttocks, and gently rubbed. Su Yanqi hurriedly got up, and her steps became even more chaotic. Finally, she ran to a quiet place, which was like a fairyland with clouds floating in it. A huge ball of light was very eye-catching. She saw a picture of herself when she was a child in a trance. Before she could take a closer look, the Sky City was instantly closed, and the iron gate in front of her turned black, as if the beautiful scene just now was just an illusion. What's going on? Attracted by the magnificent scenery in the sky, Su Yanqi calmed down miraculously, and her brain began to function normally, analyzing the current situation. Where am I? Su Yanqi asked. Shin Yunyan said unhappily, You are on my face. As he said that, he stretched out his hand and scratched his face. Although it was useless to scratch the itch, it was psychologically comforting. Su Yanqi was in trouble. What has been touching my butt? She clearly felt that there was something behind her, but when she turned around, there was nothing. Su Yanqi had just been frightened, and now she was harassed for no reason. Strange things happened one after another. She covered her humiliated butt, her nose was sore, and she wanted to cry a little. Hearing this, Shin Yunyan's scratching fingers froze. He thought of something, stopped and asked, What about now? Disappeared. Su Yanqi breathed a sigh of relief. Shin Yunyan's anger was raised. It turned out that when he pressed on the part of Su Yanqi's body, she could feel it. And it was the feeling of that place. Shin Yunyan's fingers rubbed involuntarily, and he thought that Su Yanqi would probably call him a pervert. So, when Su Yanqi's mind turned quickly and guessed something, he told a harmless little lie. Did you do something? Evil civilian. No, my chin just hit the corner of the table. Oh! Su Yanqi thought for a long time, was there a table in Shin Yunyan's little cave? She hadn't noticed it, but she didn't plan to delve into it. After all, she was in someone else's body now. People under the eaves have to bow their heads. In order to understand the current situation, Su Yanqi called the system, but for some reason, the system did not respond for the first time. She felt panic. The best option at the moment was to get along peacefully with Shin Yunyan in this body, until the system came back online and explained the current situation to her, and told her how to return to her body. The explosion she heard when she left her body always gave her a very ominous premonition. How long are you going to stay on my face? Shin Yunyan couldn't help asking. He couldn't stand the feeling of a ball of fur on his face. Su Yanqi's thoughts came back. Then where should I stay? Now I seem to be able to stay in your body. Su Yanqi's voice was a little gentler, and he didn't say anything about evil civilians. She is also a person who knows the current situation. Are you sure you want to stay in the body of a scum, a bad seed, a disgusting robber? Su Yanqi, Shin Yunyan's voice was very calm, as if it was a normal communication, so Su Yanqi didn't know how angry he was, so she couldn't grasp the strength of the comfort. If she didn't comfort him enough, she was afraid of angering Shin Yunyan, and if she comforted him too much, she was afraid that she would look too embarrassed. For a while, the two emotions in her heart were deadlocked. Su Yanqi felt that the air she breathed was full of embarrassment, although she didn't seem to need to breathe. Su Yanqi wanted to explain, but Shin Yunyan just brushed it off. Go down, it's uncomfortable here. Shin Yunyan grinded his back alveolar teeth and resisted the urge to grind his cheeks with his teeth. Su Yanqi had already prepared her emotions, but was stopped halfway, and felt a little uncomfortable. In the end, Shin Yunyan still changed her body back, and she scolded him for nothing. The more she thought about it, the more she felt guilty. Now she was ready to apologize, but the other party quickly changed the subject. If she brought up that matter again, Miss Su felt that she would lose face. First of all, she had never bowed her head to anyone for so many years, whether she was right or wrong. Maybe she had been a willful young lady for a long time, and she was really used to it. In short, she couldn't open her mouth to talk about that matter now. Su Yanqi knew that she was in the wrong, so she became very well behaved, and her movements were very light. She always felt that it would be easy for Shin Yunyan to kill her in her body. Maybe Su Yanqi's movements were gentle, or maybe Shin Yunyan was used to her existence, and the discomfort caused by Su Yanqi's actions was greatly reduced. He relaxed, and his forehead was full of cold sweat after trying hard to restrain himself. 2 minutes with Su Yanqi was more tiring than 2 hours of driving a mecha. Can I stay here? Shen Yunian was distracted for 2 seconds when he heard Su Yanqi ask. She was at his chest, and he could still clearly feel her index finger poking his heart. It was like being scratched by a feather, and his heart skipped a beat. Somehow, the strangeness brought by Su Yanqi in his chest was almost reduced to 0. Okay, he said. Great. For Su Yanqi, because her heart was next to her, she felt that this was the safest place. When she learned that she could stay here, she jumped twice with joy. Shen Yunian groaned. Su Yanqi shrank her body and said embarrassedly, Sorry, I couldn't control myself. Miss Su, let's make 3 rules. You stay here these days. Don't run around, don't touch anything, and don't move around. Shen Yunian said. So many requests? Su Yanqi whispered. What? Shen Yunian asked. Nothing, I promise not to run around, touch or move around. Su Yanqi leaned her right foot against her left foot, stood in a military posture, and firmly made a 4 with her right hand, and placed it next to her ear. The movement was too large, her hair was flying, and the tail brushed across her heart, and she felt numb again. Although Su Yanqi promised very well, Shen Yunian always felt that this period of time when he and Su Yanqi were born together would not be peaceful. The first night of 2 strange souls was very difficult, or rather, it was Shen Yunian who had a difficult time. He raised his palm and gently placed it on his heart, which was filled up with an unprecedented sense of fullness. The eldest lady was sleeping soundly, and her heart was not a little bit big. Stop it! The young lady felt an invisible pressure on her body, turned over, adjusted a comfortable posture, and continued to fall asleep. Shen Yunian was startled by Su Yanqi's sharpness, quickly took his hand away, put it on the stone bed, and didn't move again. Seeing that she was not woken up, he closed his eyes and sniffed the air quietly. The familiar smell in the air. Does this count as sleeping with her? Shen Yunian was amused by his own thoughts. His chest vibrated, and he woke Su Yanqi up again. Be quiet. What are you laughing at in the middle of the night? Shen Yunian, are you so happy to sleep with me? The speaker is unintentional, but the listener is intentional. In a place where Su Yanqi can't see, Shen Yunian's face was slightly hot because of this sentence. I just had a dream, he explained, then took a light breath, waiting for Su Yanqi to answer, but he didn't expect the latter to not care at all and fell asleep again. Shen Yunian was very upset, although he didn't know what he was upset about. It was just an excuse, but he didn't expect that when he fell asleep, he really had a dream. In the 60th year of the Empire, it was snowing heavily, and the weather was freezing cold. On such a snowy day, the imperial palace was very lively, because today was the 10th birthday of the emperor's second prince, and countless ministers and nobles came to congratulate him. Unlike the bustle of the palace, in the small courtyard deep in the cabinet, Shen Yunian sat alone on the courtyard wall. His mother was using some mecha material she picked up to put together some small toys for him. He looked at the lights and decorations in the distance and asked in confusion, Why can't we attend the banquet? Mom, am I not the eldest prince? Nian, we can't cause trouble to others. Mother Shen said, the new queen has been very good to us. She is so kind that she lets us live in this small courtyard and gives you an identity. Shen Yunian was too young to understand what it meant to be unworthy. But he knew from his mother's words that there were many things he couldn't do, such as attending banquets and meeting his father. Both of these things only existed in his imagination. Shen Yunian jumped down from the wall. He didn't want to stay in this home that his mother had exchanged for with her servility. He wanted to be alone for a while, walking aimlessly. Just at a bridge, he heard a whimpering sound like a kitten. He walked over and saw a little girl who was delicate and beautiful, wearing a white petticoat, delicate lace around her waist, and a beautiful down feather cloak, like a little fur ball. Beautiful things always attract people's attention. Shen Yunian, who thought he was cold, was also like this. He couldn't help but walk to the little ball, pulled her up, pressed her to sit on the stool, and patted the snow off her body. It's just a scratch on your leg. Don't cry. I give you some medicine. Shen Yunian went back, took a small medicine bottle, squatted down, tore open his white socks, applied the medicine on the little girl's knee, and then wrapped the wound with the torn cloth. It's a bit ugly. The little girl sniffed her red nose, and pulled the cloth on the wound with disdain. Brother, tie it again. The girl looked at him with her obsidian eyes without blinking. Shen Yunian seemed to be bewitched. He squatted down without complaint, untied the knot, and tied a bow again. The girl was satisfied now. Brother, what's your name? Who are you from? The girl asked sweetly. Chun Union, he said indifferently. I know you. The girl's face was straight. You are the eldest prince, brother. Why didn't you attend the banquet? Can't you find the way? I take you there. Yes. Chun Union didn't want to explain. The two walked side by side for a while, and soon met a crowd looking for the girl. Cece, where have you been? Can you stop running around? We are almost dead. That's what I mean. It's brother Shinja's birthday. I was about to open the gifts, but I came to find you. Really, it's so troublesome. Shinja stood up at the right time. Don't say that, Cece. She just came out to breathe. Su Yanqi considered it, and still took the step handed by Shinja. In fact, she just felt that this kind of activity was boring, and every time she attended this kind of banquet, she felt a fierce competition, and the noble ladies were always competing for beauty. Who is he? Someone found Chun Union, who wanted to leave Su Yanqi. Su Yanqi was about to explain, but a noble lady said disdainfully, You don't know him? He is the eldest prince. Eh? How can the son of a commoner woman be called the eldest prince? He is not as good as our brothers at all. Shinja did not even look at this cheap brother. He said to Su Yanqi with concern, Cece, why are you injured? Did he hurt you? No. Su Yanqi said. But Shinja seemed not to hear. He must have bullied you and threatened you, so you dared not tell me. As he said, Shinja grabbed Chun Union's collar and punched him. Chun Union felt a pain in his jaw and wanted to fight back, but Shinja's followers rushed up. There were so many people, and he was kicked many times. I should not have been so kind, Chun Union thought as he fell in the snow. Hey! Wait, don't fight. Brother Shinja. You are right, he bullied me, and now he has no strength to fight back. I want to take revenge myself. Brother Shinja, can you step away first? Why? Shinja asked. I don't want you to see me being unladylike. Su Yanqi blinked pitifully. You are so good at pretending, a noble lady said sourly. Shinja just fell for it, and took his men away from him, and finally looked at Su Yanqi encouragingly. I bullied you. Do all little noble ladies like to lie with their eyes open? Chun Union gritted his teeth. So what? You disgusting commoner, how dare you touch my skirt with your dirty hands? The little lady lost her softness and tenderness, and stepped lightly on his face with her crystal leather boots. Having saved an ungrateful person, Chun Union could only consider himself unlucky. The temperature of ice and snow was very low, and his eyes were even colder than ice and snow. The icy eyes looked straight at the little lady, who dodged her eyes as if she was startled, and then emphasized more confidently, You are the one who bullied me. You deserve to be beaten. After that, she kicked her twice. Chun Union looked at the little lady's flying skirt and suddenly had a bad idea. He hooked his finger at the little lady, who squatted down with an innocent look, and then put her ear close. Chun Union said something at a distance of less than 10 centimeters, and then the little lady blushed, jumped up, and cursed angrily, Pervert! Hooligan! As expected, Chun Union was kicked again, and this time, the young lady did not save her strength. However, he felt that this kick was worth it. The young lady will not be able to sleep tonight. The corners of Chun Union's mouth were raised while he was asleep, and he couldn't suppress it. Capital Star. Yun Fengxian, who had done something bad, returned home and saw her father in the living room again. After bombing the school, Yun Fengxian was a little scared. She felt that she was too impulsive. What would she do if the truth came out? When she returned home, she was still very uneasy. Seeing her father waiting for her, she knew that she would probably be scolded again. Yun Fengxian, did you do the school thing? Yun's father asked. Yes. Yun Fengxian racked her brains to find reasons to convince her father, but she didn't expect that Yun's father would say, Well done. You are worthy of being the eldest daughter of my Yun family. Yun Fengxian was stunned by the sudden praise. Father, don't you blame me for being impulsive? She asked timidly. What's the point of being impulsive? It's enough to achieve the goal. Father Yun didn't care. If someone finds out. Yun Fengxian still felt dangerous. Those who find out will only thank you, such as the royal family. Father Yun said, It's better for her to die. If she dies, all the things she left behind can be confiscated. Yun Fengxian didn't understand. The most valuable things Su Yanqi left behind were the 10 planets, but shouldn't her parents inherit them? How could they be confiscated? Are they going to kill all the people in the Su family? She didn't ask and didn't dare to ask. Anyway, it was enough for her to get praise. As for the life and death of the Su family, she didn't care. Chapter 56. The next day, Su Yanqi woke up before Chun Union. Shen Yunian, Shen Yunian. She called out twice tentatively. Seeing that Shen Yunian did not respond, she confirmed that he was sleeping soundly, and she couldn't help but have more thoughts in her mind. She still remembered the familiar picture that flashed by in the sky city yesterday. It was full of clouds. According to the position where she last stopped on her cheek, and went all the way down to Shen Yunian's heart, she deduced that the cloud city was Shen Yunian's brain. The beautiful clouds in the brain are memories. There are colorful clouds in Shen Yunian's brain, but the one she saw is pure white, without any color, like a vast snow scene, always giving her a sense of familiarity. Why does he have memories of her? Su Yanqi was very curious. While Shen Yunian was sleeping soundly, she took 2 steps lightly. She thought that if Shen Yunian woke up at this moment and stopped her, then she would give up this idea. However, she walked up for a long time, and Shen Yunian's breathing was steady, and he still looked like he was sleeping soundly. It seemed that this was God's will. Su Yanqi walked towards the sky city nervously. In her deep sleep, the iron walls and copper walls here disappeared, and the active clouds appeared in front of her, but she didn't know where the white clouds that she saw at first glance were drifting to. She stepped carefully into this vast world, and her feet seemed to be stepping on the tip of the cloud, which was very soft. Every step she took would sink a little. Su Yanqi rushed among the clouds, looking for the white cloud, and she looked for a lot, but it was not there. She didn't know how wide and big this place was. At present, it seemed like an endless ocean. She was a little discouraged. If she continued to look, she would have no direction. If Shen Yunian woke up and found her wandering around, he might get angry. It is obviously not good for Su Yanqi, who is in a weak position, to anger Shen Yunian. In fact, Shen Yunian woke up long before Su Yanqi was ready to make a move. He hasn't slept so soundly for a long time, but his body is instinctively alert, and the slightest movement will force him to turn on the awakening device. Although he woke up, he remained calm and wanted to see what Su Yanqi would do. She followed his chest, brushed the corner of his lips, and went straight to his brain. What is she interested in her brain? Shen Yunian didn't know what his brain looked like from Su Yanqi's perspective. Just as he turned on the defense mode, the system's voice suddenly sounded. Target host, Su Yanqi can see your memory. Shen Yunian suddenly realized that Su Yanqi must have found something when he accidentally entered here yesterday, so he returned to the old place to find out. She is looking for the memory represented by the white cloud. The system continued to analyze for Shen Yunian. What is she looking for? Shen Yunian asked. Screening in progress. Screening completed. According to the system, Su Yanqi is looking for the target host's memory about her. Shen Yunian immediately recalled the dusty past. I had just dreamed about it last night, so the memory was particularly clear at this moment. So that's how it is. It seems that she has forgotten it completely, and can't remember his existence at all. That's right, for Su Yanqi, it was just an ordinary episode. People around her kept coming one after another. How could she remember someone she had only met a few times? Or the civilian she hated the most? The more he realized this, the more unwilling Shen Yunian was. How could he be the only one who remembered it? He originally wanted to seal the memory area, but now, he opened the door and let Su Yanqi visit. If he could find the memory, he would have wanted to send that memory directly to Su Yanqi. What would she feel if she remembered that incident? Fear? Disgust? Rejection? Or disdain? After all, she is no longer an unknown passerby. Target host, it is very dangerous to let an alien soul travel through your brain. Didn't you put her in? Shen Yunian asked back. Yes, target host. Do you remember what I said about the system binding the wrong person? Yeah. Now, we can correct the direction of things. Su Yanqi's soul recognition is very close to your soul. You can devour her soul to become more powerful. Not only can you solve your beast problem, but you can also directly inherit the soulbound system. After speaking, the system waited for a long time, but Shen Yunian did not tell it what to do next. Are you listening? Target host. Oh, Shen Yunian said lightly. The system was at a loss for words because of this undemanding oh. Target host, you can obtain a mining system, bind countless miners to mine for you, and even enslave nobles. As long as you devour Su Yanqi's soul, you will have the power to take back everything. You can return to the empire, inherit the throne, and make all those who have bullied you regret it. I know. Shen Yunian was still calm. The system didn't know what that meant. Does this human devour souls, or not? Su Yanqi didn't know that her every move was being watched. She searched for a long time, so long that she planned to leave if she didn't see the cloud again, but she turned around and found it. She walked towards the cloud, but she didn't expect the sea of clouds to start surging restlessly, and the cloud was about to be swept away by the air current. Su Yanqi stepped forward quickly, stretched out her hand, and grabbed the cloud, and then quickly fled from the chaotic skies city. I don't know what caused the chaos here. Su Yanqi returned to the heart before it was closed here. I don't know what Shen Yunian is doing. Maybe he is dreaming, so his consciousness is so confused. Fortunately, she got what she wanted. Su Yanqi took out the white cloud from her pocket. At this moment, the white cloud has turned into a small box. One is pure white, and the other is as black as ink. 2 boxes? This white box should be a white cloud. What is this black box? Did she accidentally take an extra cloud? The black box has a small lock more than the white one, and it doesn't look like it wants people to open it casually. Su Yanqi was not interested in anything else. She would return the white box with the black box after she finished reading the contents. She picked up the small white box and gently opened the lid. A beam of dazzling white light came over her, bringing her back to a memory from a long, long time ago. That day was Shinja's birthday party. There were lights and decorations everywhere, and it was very lively, but she was not happy, because she had just learned that she would represent the Su family to marry the royal family, and the marriage partner was Shinja. Shinja was good, but Su Yanqi did not like him. The little lady had no intention of getting married at all, and just wanted to be her own little lady forever. But no one cared about her thoughts. The adults had already discussed this matter, and it was set in stone. The way that little Su Yanqi expressed her resistance was just to sneak out of the banquet to get some fresh air, but she didn't expect to be so unlucky that she slipped on the snow and hit her knees on sharp stones, scratching her blood. The heavy snow and the bad things that happened one after another made Su Yanqi feel that her life was bleak. She couldn't help crying twice. Anyway, there was no one around here. Thinking of this, she felt relieved and cried to her heart's content. Just as she was crying hard, a pair of strong hands lifted her and put her on a chair on the side. She looked up and saw a little brother with a cold face but very enthusiastic. He also helped her pat the snowflakes on her body. Don't cry. His voice was like the collision of jade, very pleasant to the ear. Su Yanqi didn't want to cry instantly, and just wanted to hear a few more words from him. The little brother came over with medicine, bandaged her wound, and tied a small bow. Su Yanqi's mood improved visibly. She was so easy to coax. However, this good mood came to an abrupt end when she met Shinja and his group. No one listened to her explanation. They all thought that the little brother had bullied her and hurt her. They swarmed up and pressed the little brother to the ground and punched and kicked him. Su Yanqi was terrified, but no one listened to her, and no one stopped the chaotic scene. Instead, they applauded. At that moment, she realized that as a noble, the biggest taboo was probably to interact with civilians. Nobles are born to hate civilians, and civilians are born dirty and lowly. If something happened to a noble, and there happened to be a civilian next to him, then the bad thing must have been done by this civilian. Yes, if they all thought so, she could only go along with them, and do as they wished. He bullied me. I want to take revenge myself. She heard herself say this. It was the first time for Su Yanqi to confuse right and wrong. Shinja retreated as she asked, but he did not leave, as if he would not stop until he saw her take revenge. She suppressed her fear and imitated those people, stepping on the little brother's face with her small leather boots. The soft smell of a living person made her feel that she was too bad to be worse. She kicked and kicked again, and finally completed this series of revenge actions. Before she could breathe a sigh of relief, she found that the little brother hooked his fingers, as if he had something to say. Shinja and others were far away, and could not hear the sound from this side. Su Yanqi squatted down, and put her ear close to it. She felt the hot breath coming out of her ear. She heard the voice of Jade colliding slowly saying, "Underwear, white." Su Yanqi's eyes widened, and she jumped up instantly like a cat whose tail was stepped on. At this moment, the guilt in her heart had disappeared, replaced by anger. After kicking her angrily, she ran away without looking back, thinking, it turns out that commoners and gentlemen have nothing in common. She didn't know that you should not look at anything indecent. As the tide of memories receded, Su Yanqi also remembered that incident. Later, she found out that she was not wearing white at all, and the little brother was just talking nonsense to scare her. However, she was so upset about the possibility of exposure that she couldn't sleep for several nights. Su Yanqi held the box. It turned out that she and Shen Yunian really knew each other. So, did he know who she was from the beginning? While Su Yanqi was recalling the past, many things happened in the Su family. The royal family didn't know what was wrong, and they insisted that the capital hospital issue a death certificate for their eldest daughter, and took out a will, saying that in the event of an accident, everything would be donated to the empire, with Su Yanqi's autograph on it. Father Su was stunned. First, his daughter was so young, she didn't look like she needed to worry about her sudden death. How could she make a will? Second, it was impossible for this will to donate everything to the empire, not to mention that his daughter had just broken off the engagement with the second prince. Even if she didn't break off the engagement, she would have donated it to the Imperial Military Academy. Third, this will did not assign a lawyer that the Su family trusted. In summary, Father Su didn't believe a word of this will. Most importantly, his daughter wasn't dead yet. The doctor said that she was still breathing, and there was a possibility of waking up. These people in the royal family were too anxious. Chung, do you know what the situation is with the royal family? Father Su asked Su Chung. Su Chung was a little absent-minded. I don't know. Father Su sighed. This matter will not end like this. We need to send more people to watch over your sister in the next 2 days. You keep an eye on her. I make a phone call. Su Chung took on the responsibility of taking care of Su Yanqi. After Su's father left, she looked at Su Yanqi's quiet face, and the more she looked at it, the angrier she got. Weren't you so powerful that you dragged everyone to mine? Why are you so quiet now, and let others bully you? Su Yanqi, you must be pretending, right? Su Yanqi, wake up! If you don't wake up, will I unplug the instrument? Will I cut your hair? Will I pinch your face? You are so powerful against me, but so weak against others? Su Chung didn't know what she was angry about, but she just couldn't bear to see Su Yanqi lying like this and being slaughtered. Su Yanqi, listen, only I can defeat you. I won't allow anyone else. Su Chung admitted that she was a little crazy about the name Su Yanqi. But this is what she thought. Su Yanqi must be alive, and she must defeat her personally. This is a sisterly fight, and there is no room for a third party. I know you won't die so easily, right, Su Yanqi? Chapter 57. The changes on Cinnabar Star made Shen Yunyan change his opinion of Su Yanqi. This arrogant young lady actually knows how to do some human things. In this small mining area, she is farming, training soldiers, and saving young lovers. She looks like she is going to do something big. Doesn't she hate civilians the most? Besides, the people here are worse than civilians. How can she do so many things? Shen Yunyan didn't want to delve into the reasons. Since the young lady has laid the groundwork here, it would be unreasonable for him not to want Cinnabar Star. During the time he returned to his body, he had made a lot of preparations based on Su Yanqi. Yin Fu and Jiang Jiashu, a couple who love each other deeply, were taken hostage by him. He collected the mecha materials obtained by the miners when mining to make mechas and weapons. The troops were expanded on the basis of the previous 100 people, and the fields were expanded several times. Both the supplies and the armaments were greatly improved. Everything was ready, just waiting for the first shot to be fired. Chen Chong was not stupid. He immediately contacted the queen to report the situation, hoping to get support. He thought things should go smoothly, but unexpectedly the queen said, Cinnabar Star, I sent people away, there is no need to defend, I will change you to another planet. As for Cinnabar Star, let others worry about it, ha ha ha. Chen Chong was full of questions, but he had to listen to his boss's words, not to mention that he didn't want to fight. So he pretended to deploy defenses and packed up to leave. Before leaving, he said to Boss Yin, I'm going out to get help. You guys be careful here and wait for me to come back. Boss Yin didn't realize that something was wrong, but after waiting for a few days, Chen Chong still didn't return. When Chen Chong completely lost contact, Boss Yin could guess what happened no matter how stupid he was. As for abandoning the planet just because of a minor uprising, Boss Yin was puzzled. It was absolutely impossible for him to help guard the planet. He only wanted to find his daughter, and didn't want to make waiting clothes for others. He had to think about what to do. Su Yanqi carefully hid the 2 boxes, and then was bored in Shen Yunyan's body. She could hear him talking to others, but she couldn't see anything. There was only inky black around her. This extremely quiet black seemed to strangle her here. In addition, Shen Yunyan didn't know what he was busy with. He ignored her for a long time. He just talked to many people in a whisper. She couldn't hear clearly at all, and she became more and more bored. Host, are you okay? Hearing the voice of the system, Su Yanqi was very surprised. You are okay, system? Yes. Su Yanqi had many questions in her mind waiting for the system to answer. The moment the system appeared, she was eager to figure out the direction of the matter. Hundreds of questions turned into one sentence. What happened? Host, there was an explosion at the agricultural college, and you were just affected. In order to ensure your safety, I can only transfer your soul to a safe place. Thank you, system. Su Yanqi was very grateful, but thinking that her body might have been blown to ashes without even a slag left in the explosion, she couldn't help but feel sad. So, do I have to live in Shinyunyan's body for the rest of my life? Not to mention whether Shinyunyan is willing to share with an outsider. For her, this is no less than a top-level torture. She will spend the rest of her life in this dark and narrow space, and she can't communicate with the outside world. This kind of life is worse than death, and it is better for her soul and body to be destroyed in the explosion. The system paused, then said, "For now. But it's too dark here, I don't like it. Is there no other way to change the environment?" Su Yanqi asked pitifully. The system made a noisy electronic sound, as if thinking about something, and after a long while it said, "Host, if you can get the master's consent, you can go to the master's eyes, and see the outside world through the eyes. In other words, if I go to the corresponding part, I can sense the outside world." Yes. Su Yanqi understood it immediately. So the current situation of darkness all around is because the heart part where she is not connected to the five senses, so she can only vaguely sense the outside world. Su Yanqi tried to call Shinyunyan, but got no response. It seems that Shinyunyan can contact her actively, but she can't contact Shinyunyan here. If I go to Shinyunyan's ears, can he hear me talking? Yes. After getting a positive answer from the system, Su Yanqi did what he said, and walked toward Shinyunyan's ear step by step according to the simple map of the human body drawn in his mind. Shinyunyan, who was talking to Shinshur, felt a little itchy on his face, raised his hand to scratch it, but the itching became more obvious. He could guess who was making trouble just by moving his fingers. Shinyunyan had to distract himself and said to the little soul in his body, "Behave yourself." Then he continued to discuss the battle plan to seize Cinnabar Star with Shinshur. "Brother Nyin, the mecha materials you asked us to collect are almost ready. Old Sun is assembling it according to the drawings you gave, and it will be put into use soon," Shinshur said seriously. "How are Yin Fu and Jiang Jiashu?" Shinyunyan asked. Thinking of the young couple who followed the miners to the fields every day, Shinshur said, "They are doing well. They are quite comfortable here." Shinyunyan nodded. At this moment, Su Yanqi had already climbed to Shinyunyan's ear. "Shinyunyan, Shinyunyan." Su Yanqi's clear voice, like a silver bell, came. The ear is a very sensitive part of the human body. Shinyunyan felt as if someone was breathing into his ear, and the airflow passed through a numb area. "Don't talk." Shinyunyan's forehead was bulging with blue veins. Shinshur didn't understand, and looked up and asked, "Ah? Brother Nyin, did I say something wrong?" In the ear, a small voice kept telling its needs. In reality, Shinshur looked at him and waited for an answer. Shinyunyan felt flustered for the first time. He didn't know who to respond to first. "I didn't say you," he said helplessly. "You go back first, we talk later." "Oh, okay." Shinshur glanced at Shinyunyan worriedly. From the beginning, Brother Nyen's face became very bad, as if he was very uncomfortable. Is it the sequelae of exchanging bodies with the girl named Su Yanqi mentioned by Brother Nyen? "Go." Shinyunyan urged the hesitant Shinshur. "Oh, okay." Shinshur left, shook his head, and told himself not to think too much. After Shinshur left, Shinyunyan had time to listen to what Su Yanqi was saying. "Shinyunyan, why don't you say anything? Do you agree or not?" Shinyunyan only listened half of it, and didn't know what Su Yanqi wanted to do, so he had to ask, "Agree to what?" In response to Shinyunyan, Su Yanqi was silent with anger. In the past, people who didn't listen to her seriously would be blacklisted forever. Shinyunyan was lucky. Su Yanqi declared again, "I want to wear it in your eyes, so that I can see what's outside." "No." Shinyunyan refused without thinking. Su Yanqi's movements in his body had a great impact, and he felt uncomfortable wherever he passed. Su Yanqi didn't expect Shinyunyan to refuse so cleanly. Hard means would definitely not work, so she could only use soft means. "But, the place where I stay is dark, and it's not fun at all." "No." Shinyunyan would not be soft-hearted to Miss Su. "Shinyunyan, I will be bored to death, I will go crazy." "No." Shinyunyan, brother, please." This time, Shinyunyan did not refuse in time, pursed his lips, and remained silent. Su Yanqi was surprised to find this, and continued, brother, promise me, okay." "Okay." Shinyunyan regretted it as soon as he said this word. He made up for it. "Don't run around." Feeling Su Yanqi running towards his eyes happily, it felt like a little ant crawling, and it was the kind of existence that could not be ignored at all. Shinyunyan regretted agreeing to Su Yanqi very much. Sure enough, being soft-hearted will cause trouble for yourself. Su Yanqi rubbed his eyes, and it was wonderful to see the world through another person's eyes. "Wow, I can really see it. Let's go out for a walk, Shinyunyan." She was locked up for a day, and had reached the critical point. Now even looking at mud is beautiful. Trouble. Shin Yunian lifted his eyelids, resisted the urge to rub his eyes, and walked out. So, Su Yanqi saw a mining area that was very different from the one she left. The planting area had expanded dozens of times, and more miners came and went. Many people wore soft armor, which felt like a universal military force. There were also mechas of different sizes standing in the open space. Thanks to the mecha class that Shin Yunian helped her choose, she roughly recognized several new mechas. Shin Yunian seemed to be very good at this. She had a question in her mind. Interstellar attached great importance to mecha talents. Since Shin Yunian was very good at mechas, how could he be exiled to the border by the royal family? Dinner was eaten in the canteen of the mining area. After Su Yanqi's reform, the canteen of the mining area no longer served those expired nutrient solutions, but some radishes and vegetables, plus some mining drops. Although the food was still scarce, it was much better than the pig food before. Su Yanqi even saw someone holding a bowl of braised pork. It has been so long since the mining. Can the braised pork still be eaten? On the surface, the braised pork did not deteriorate. This bowl of braised pork made Su Yanqi particularly greedy. Even Shin Yunian could feel her smacking her lips. After Shin Yunian gave Su Yanqi visual permission, his senses could be slightly affected by Su Yanqi. Just like now, Su Yanqi wanted to eat braised pork, and his eyes were glued to the braised pork and couldn't move away. The owner of the braised pork was a little boy. He found someone staring at him, and was very alert. When he saw that the person staring at him was Shin Yunian, he let down his guard, took the initiative to approach, handed out the braised pork, and said like an adult, "Brother Nyin, do you want to eat it?" Yes, yes, yes. Su Yanqi couldn't help but reach out to take it, but it was empty. She couldn't do anything in her soul state, and could only hope in Shin Yunian. Brother. Shut up. Shin Yunian rubbed his eyebrows and said in his heart, just for a bowl of braised pork, you have to call a scum, a bad seed, a disgusting robber brother. The eldest lady is really not polite. Su Yanqi ignored Shin Yunian's ridicule. Although it was a bit shameful to call out those two words, it worked. How to change? Shin Yunian asked the little boy. No need to change, Brother Nyin, you can eat it. The little boy was very sensible. His mother told him that they could have today's life all thanks to Brother Nyin. It was just a bowl of braised pork. Although they had saved it for a long time and were reluctant to eat it, he would be willing to give it to Brother Nyin. Shin Yunian didn't have the habit of snatching people's food, let alone a child. No need to do that, just tell me how to change it. Shin Yunian thought the child would change the mecha or something, but he said weakly, change for a treatment card? Shin Yunian really hoped that the child would be greedy, because he didn't have a treatment card, but he had a mecha. The young lady's braised pork is probably going to be in vain. I have a treatment card. Let's exchange it with Shin Yunian. Can you take it out? I don't have a treatment card, Shin Yunian said. Su Yanqi immediately called out 2 treatment cards, but she was in Shin Yunian's body, and couldn't put the treatment card in Shin Yunian's hand at all. System, what should I do? The system wanted to play dead, but it couldn't refuse the host's question. If he is willing to temporarily exchange control of the body, you can take out the treatment card in reality after taking over the body. Su Yanqi told Shin Yunian what the system said, and the body exchange required Shin Yunian's consent. Shin Yunian had no objection, but the system was anxious and communicated with Shin Yunian quietly. Target host, this must not be done. Once the control of the body is taken away, Su Yanqi can also devour your soul, which is very dangerous. Unfortunately, Shin Yunian's actions were faster than it, and he agreed without hesitation. System, Su Yanqi successfully took over Shin Yunian's body, and the sense of freedom returned to her. For a moment, she just wanted to turn around and jump 3 meters high. She exchanged the braised pork with the little boy, and she covered her chest and communicated with Shin Yunian. Can you eat it, and then change it back? Okay. After getting permission, Su Yanqi was in a good mood and ate 3 bowls of rice in a row, which stunned Xiaohai, Shinshur and others. Shinshur stayed with Shin Yunian the longest, and he soon found the difference. Niangu didn't like to eat radishes, and he would frown slightly every time he ate them, but this time, he ate happily. It should be that person who came back. Shinshur was a little worried that Yanji's plan would change because of this little episode. After dinner, Su Yanqi hummed a little tune and went back to her room to rest happily. The moment she lay down, she realized that Shin Yunian had not spoken. She tentatively called out twice, Shin Yunian, Shin Yunian. She did not get a response from him, and she could not even feel Shin Yunian's presence in her body. System, where is Shin Yunian? The system felt that it did not want to talk. It was almost annoyed to death by humans. It thought Shin Yunian was a powerful human, But it did not expect that he would hesitate when asked to devour souls, and he would change bodies when asked not to. Now, he was sucked into his own memory, and it would be over sooner or later. The black box represents the darkest, most terrible and most unwilling memory of the body, so it was locked and placed in a corner where no one cared. Fate plays tricks on people. This thing was accidentally brought out by Su Yanqi. It happened that Shen Yunian returned to the soul state and was sucked into the box. Damn it, it will never have a strong host in its life, right? It's okay, he was just sucked into the black box, and maybe the memory inside will be torn into pieces. Su Yanqi, shocked. Torn into pieces? Really? Su Yanqi felt that she had made a big mistake. Host, why are you in such a hurry? It's just right that Shen Yunian died. You can take over his powerful body. I don't need a powerful body. Su Yanqi frowned. I don't want him to die either. Although Su Yanqi is used to being willful, she is not heartless. Shen Yunian helped her when he was a child, and was beaten because of her involvement. Now he is in trouble because of borrowing her body. He has been helping her all the time. If she is still indifferent, it is simply not a human being. Besides, she still likes her own body a little more. If all else fails, she can use a female corpse to revive. She is used to being a girl. Who knows how dirty those men are? What dirty things they have done? Is there any way to help him come out, system? Yes, just go in and wake him up. So simple? The system hid its evil intentions. It's that simple. Looking at Su Yanqi's hand pressing on the box, the white fingers and the black box body formed a sharp contrast. The system activated its power, opened the box, and helped Su Yanqi enter Shen Yunian's dark memory. Yes. It's very simple. Just enter the box and dedicate your pure soul to the crazy Shen Yunian, so that he can be reborn, and everything will be fine. Chapter 58. Time has changed, and Su Yanqi landed again in a world that looked somewhat quaint. The long corridor was covered with expensive red velvet carpets, and was surrounded by precious paintings. The floor-to-ceiling windows at intervals showed Su Yanqi's shadow through the night. Her height was cut in half, and she was wearing a gorgeous dress with a thick skirt on her waist that was very tight. Pulling her cheeks, she confirmed that she had turned back to her childhood appearance. She couldn't remember whether she was 11 or 12 years old, or 15 or 16 years old. She didn't remember appearing in the palace so late in the evening. It seemed that this was already Shen Yunian's memory world. Since Shen Yunian was going to be awakened, the most urgent thing was to find where Shen Yunian was. At this age, Shen Yunian should still be the eldest prince of the royal family. Su Yanqi walked through the palace. Perhaps because it was a memory world, she didn't see any patrolling guards along the way. She walked unimpeded and didn't even see a single person. I searched everywhere where Shen Yunian might be, but I couldn't find him until I passed the hall where the emperor and ministers were discussing matters. He knelt in the middle of the hall in a proper manner. Above him sat the young emperor and empress, and some nobles, whose names I couldn't remember stood. Su Yanqi quickly hid behind a thick pillar, poked his head out slightly, and observed the situation in the hall. I only heard the queen say, "Alas, after all, it's because of different bloodlines. The bloodline of the common people is lowly, which led to Xianyan's beast transformation. In the future, let Xianyan go out as little as possible. It's not good for people to find out." If the queen was compassionate, then the emperor's words seemed to sentence Shen Yunian to death. Go out less? Going out less won't solve this problem. For the entire royal family, this is a huge scandal. If it gets out, I can't bear the charge of impure royal blood. Shen Yunian, do you know that because of this incident, you will become a sinner of the entire royal family? Shen Yunian hung his head and didn't react. Su Yanqi was a little angry. Beast transformation is a disease. What does it have to do with Shen Yunian? Is being sick a sin? However, in the royal family, being sick is a sin. After the emperor vented his emotions to little Shen Yunian, he decided, send him away and never show up in the imperial city. The queen didn't say much, just asked, what to say to the outside world. Just say that the eldest prince was abducted by the rebels, and his whereabouts are unknown. The emperor had already thought of a countermeasure. It was just right to use this incident to wipe out the rebels. This is your last responsibility as a member of the royal bloodline, and it is not in vain to raise you. The emperor said to Shen Yunian condescendingly. The queen said, "TSK, I'm afraid your little lover will be heartbroken." Hearing this, the emperor sneered. She should feel honored that her son can contribute to the empire. The two of them talked back and forth, and no one else could interrupt. After the matter was settled, the emperor left. He had more state affairs to deal with tomorrow, and the queen would decide where to go with Xiao Shen Yunian. Take him away. the Queen said. Take him back to the yard, madam. Well, the confinement room, in case something happens. Someone will take him away tomorrow. The Queen was in a good mood. Finally, she didn't have to let the annoying illegitimate son stay in front of her to show her kindness, and the breath that had been choking her for a long time finally eased. Although the illegitimate child has been transformed into a beast, the Queen is still very afraid of his super high mental power that broke the interstellar record in the Empire. No one knows whether there will be any medicine that can cure beast transformation in the future. Therefore, the illegitimate child should be thrown as far away as possible. It is best to be a place forgotten by everyone. Cinnabar Star is good. With such high mental power, it is just right to go mining to avoid waste. When Shen Yunian was taken away, the Queen did not give another look, but suddenly said, "Please come out, little lady." Su Yinchi was about to hide, and was startled by this. Without giving her time to prepare, 3 maids surrounded her, and invited her out without questioning. Cece should not be here at this time. The Queen casually fiddled with her slender golden nails. Su Yinchi had to lie. The second prince invited me to play. I wanted to go to the bathroom, but I got lost. Really? The Queen stared at Su Yinchi for a while, and just when Su Yinchi thought she would ask Shinja to check the account, the Queen let go. Don't be so careless next time. What happened tonight? I didn't see anything, Su Yinchi retorted. The Queen liked Su Yinchi's tact. Take her down to rest, the Queen said to the maid beside her. Su Yinchi didn't expect to get away easily. She got rid of the maid halfway and walked towards the confinement room. There were guards around the confinement room, and Su Yinchi couldn't get close, so she had to hide in the bushes not far away and watch. It seems that there is no way to meet Shen Yunian today, and I can only wait for tomorrow to find an opportunity. However, the Queen only said that someone would come to send Shen Yunian away tomorrow, and did not say the specific time. In order not to miss Shen Yunian's departure, Su Yinchi seems to have no choice but to stay in the bushes in the dew on this cold day for one night. Su Yinchi, after all, she still made her life miserable. It was cold and dewy at night, but Su Yinchi still fell into a deep sleep. When she woke up again, she was awakened by a muffled roar. Achoo! Su Yinchi sneezed twice in a row, and her hair stood up, which was a sign of a cold. She sniffed and shuddered. She saw Shen Yunian being pressed by 2 guards, and boarding a small spaceship from the confinement room. Seeing that the guard was about to start the spaceship, Su Yinchi rushed out quickly and stopped the guard's action. Wait a minute, she shouted. The guard looked at her strangely. Everyone knew this prince's wife reserved by the royal family. She shouldn't be here at this time. Do you have any instructions? The guard asked. Su Yinchi used Shinja as a cover again. It's the second prince, who has something to tell his brother, so he can't come, so let me talk to Shen Yunian. Several guards looked at each other, stepped aside, and left an empty seat for Su Yinchi. Su Yinchi was a little embarrassed. Can you stay away? The guard hesitated, then walked to a place not far from the spaceship, leaving Su Yinchi a separate space. Su Yinchi took the opportunity to enter the spaceship, and immediately saw the silent Shen Yunian. He sat in the back seat with empty eyes, as if he didn't notice that there was an extra person in the small space. Su Yinchi walked up to him and greeted her, and he didn't even change his posture. This little Shen Yunian is not at all the same as the Shen Yunian who responded to everything Su Yinchi had contacted. Why don't you pay attention to me? Su Yinchi was frustrated and a little unhappy. However, she didn't worry so much. After all, she had made a connection. What she had to do now was to find a place to hide and leave here with Shen Yunian. Su Yinchi stared at the backrest of Shen Yunian's seat. There was a space behind the backrest that was not too big or too small. It was originally a trunk for luggage, but Shen Yunian didn't have much luggage, so that space was vacant, just enough to accommodate one person. She patted Shen Yunian. Hey, stand up. Shen Yunian responded to Su Yinchi for the first time since they met. He glanced at her, and stood up obediently. Su Yinchi folded up the backrest of the seat, got in, and urged Shen Yunian, open the backrest, hurry up. Shen Yunian didn't know what the young lady wanted to do, but she still helped complete this ridiculous task. After waiting for a long time, the guards returned to the spaceship. They saw that only Shen Yunian was in the cabin, and they cursed. They left without saying a word. These ladies are really arrogant. They made us wait for so long. Forget it. Anyway, we just send the people away. After setting the route, the guard clicked the start button, and the spaceship could automatically drive to the destination. The cabin door closed, and a small private spaceship took off from the palace and flew into the dark universe. Shen Yunian, are you a fool? Why don't you let me out? Su Yinchi patted the back of the chair. Click. The back of the chair opened, and through the faint light in the cabin, Su Yinchi met Shen Yunyan's sight. A trace of confusion appeared on his face, which was originally neither sad nor happy. When Su Yinchi climbed out of the trunk, the two sat side by side, and Shen Yunyan asked, "Do you know what you are doing?" His voice was a little hoarse, because he hadn't spoken for too long. Since the beast's transformation was discovered, he has been facing the world with silence. If his record-breaking mental power level pushed him to the throne of the favored son of heaven, then the beast's transformation dragged him down from the sky into the mud. But now, compared with being exiled to an unknown planet, this sudden increase in companions shocked him more. "I know." Su Yinchi lay on the driver's seat, curiously looking at the scenery of the universe. "I was exiled," Shen Yunyan said. "Oh, this is not a joke." Shen Yunyan's dark pupils locked on Su Yinchi. "Once you get on the boat, you can't get off." "Yeah." Shen Yunyan was annoyed by Su Yinchi's carefree look, and couldn't help but arrange for this stupid little noblewoman. "If you want to go back now, you can use the smart brain to contact your father, and he will send someone to pick you up." "Yeah, you reminded me." Shen Yunyan saw Su Yinchi pull open his sleeves, revealing the silver smart brain. His eyes shrank unconsciously, but his heart was calm. It's really the playful mind of the little noble lady. Annoying. Are she and Shinja playing hide and seek? Many people are looking for her again after she disappeared, just like last time. It seems that many people are always nervous about her, unlike him. Little Shen Yunyan lowered his eyes, and pursed his lips tightly. He heard the ventilation sound of garbage discharge, and his sight returned to Su Yinchi again. In an instant, he saw Su Yinchi's smooth and delicate wrist, where there was a smart brain just now. The disappeared smart brain, and the open exhaust vent. Shen Yunyan can figure out what happened with his toes. But he still couldn't help asking, "Did you throw away the smart brain?" "Yes, so they can't find me." Su Yinchi said sorry to her parents in her heart. This is not reality after all. She came here with a mission and must follow Shen Yunyan to find a way to wake him up. Shen Yunyan was silent after hearing this. Even more silent than at the beginning. I don't know how long it took before he asked, "Why are you following me?" This question stumped Su Yinchi. Shen Yunyan in front of her seemed to be a child, completely unaware of what would happen when he grew up. For a while, she couldn't find a suitable reason to approach him. "Do you like me?" His voice was mocking, but Su Yinchi smiled and responded with a gleam in her eyes. "That's right. It's because I like you. I fell in love with you at first sight." Shen Yunyan was stunned for a moment, and murmured, "So, is it considered eloping now?" "Yes." Shen Yunyan carefully and seriously scanned Su Yinchi's face bit by bit, and he didn't look like he liked it at all. She looked relaxed and not shy at all, as if she was going out for a picnic with a dog, definitely not the feeling of eloping with someone she liked. However, Shen Yunyan didn't want to expose her. There was no surplus value in him, so she could follow him if she wanted to, but she was afraid that she would be the one crying and making a fuss about leaving the most. If she threw away the intelligent brain, no one would come to save her. The spacecraft soon arrived at Cinnabar Star. The owner of the mine, Qin Chang, had already received a notice that a teenage boy would be exiled here in the near future, and he must be made to do the dirtiest and most tiring work. Qin Chang did not comment on this, but a teenage boy who didn't know whether he could work or not, and was doing the hardest and most tiring work, was afraid that he would not live to adulthood. What a waste of food. When the spaceship arrived, two people came down. A taciturn little boy and a gorgeously dressed girl. Qin Chang? Qin Chang cursed inwardly, buy one get one free? And they didn't explain it clearly. Since the two came together, Qin Chang arranged them according to the same standard. Manager Zhang, they will be handed over to you. Su Yinchi looked at the young version of the mine owner and Manager Zhang and felt magical. Follow me. Manager Zhang is now a serious young man who doesn't smile. Manager Zhang took the two to the low-level mining area. Blackish filled the air. He casually pointed to a cave for the two and left. The two young children entering the mining area attracted many miners' attention, but everyone was busy with the things at hand, and this curiosity soon disappeared with the backs of the two. No one even came forward to talk to them. After all, these two half-grown children didn't look like they could endure hardships. They might die one day. Shen Yunyan entered one of the caves and was about to close the door, but when he turned around, he found that Su Yinchi had been following him. Anything else? Shen Yunyan asked. Su Yinchi smiled obediently. This low-level mining area is so different from what she remembered. Without the system's bonus, she was a little scared. That cave is too far away. Su Yinchi glanced in the direction of the cave that should belong to her. Just lock the door. This is an iron door, very strong. Shin Yunian said. How do you know it's strong? What if someone sees us and bullies us? Su Yanqi insisted on holding the group. Shin Yunian felt funny. What bully us? She is worried about being bullied. On second thought, it is possible. The girl in front of him was white, soft, and dust-free. She was out of place in this dirty and chaotic place. Who wouldn't want to bully her? Come in. Shin Yunian opened the door. Su Yanqi successfully entered Shin Yunian's cave. Everything was exactly the same as the cave now, but it was a little simpler and dusty. It looked like no one had lived there for a long time. After a long journey, Shin Yunian was very tired. He didn't care whether it was gray or not, and lay down directly on the stone bed. Hey! Su Yanqi's eyes widened. It's so dirty, and this stone is cold and hard. How can I sleep? Shin Yunian just closed his eyes, opened them again, looked at the little lady for a while, turned over and sat up. Trouble. As soon as he sat up, a human figure was printed on the stone bed. There was a lot of dust on the gray shirt. Su Yanqi found it very annoying, but he just had to go through it. Brush off the dust. Su Yanqi couldn't help but said. Shin Yunian perfunctorily shoved a few times, and walked out of the cave. What are you going to do? Su Yanqi was puzzled. Wait. Shin Yunian left without a trace after saying this. Su Yanqi had no choice but to wait for him to come back in the cave. Although she knew that this was an illusory world, she still felt sympathetic and a little scared, so she closed the iron door. Looking around, she couldn't find a clean place to stay. Su Yanqi sighed in resignation, gritted her teeth, tore a piece of cloth from her favorite skirt, wiped the stone slab clean with water from the small bathroom, and then sat on the stone slab to wait for Shin Yunian. When you are alone, you are always prone to wild thoughts. Shin Yunian has not come back for a long time. When Su Yanqi guessed that he didn't want to care about her because she was troublesome, Shin Yunian came back with a lot of things. A stove, a blanket, 2 cushions, and several containers for things. The stove was a little lame, the blanket was thin and old, and the cushion looked familiar. Isn't this the seat on the spaceship? Su Yanqi hesitated. Watching Shin Yunian put the cushion on the stone bed, Su Yanqi asked, Did you exchange these things for the spaceship? Yeah. Su Yanqi was shocked. She admired Shin Yunian's decisiveness. If it were someone else, they might have kept guarding the spaceship. After all, it was the only hope of leaving, but he easily traded the spaceship. But she had to admit that Shin Yunian's approach was right. In this unfamiliar place, the good things in your hands might not be kept. It is better to exchange them as soon as possible and change some things to improve your current living conditions. However, he didn't seem to think about exchanging supplies at first, and the stove, mat, and blanket seemed to be replaced because she said they were cold and hard. If he were alone, he didn't seem to need so many warm items. Su Yanqi's face was a little red. In a flash, Shin Yunian made the bed and stood there, as if thinking about something. What's wrong? Su Yanqi looked at the slate bed that had changed so much and couldn't help sitting on it, not noticing that Shin Yunian's brows were frowned even more. The smile on the little lady's face was very annoying. She seemed to have tacitly agreed that these were all prepared for her. Although it was indeed as she thought, Shin Yunian was a little depressed. I'm wondering who should sleep on the floor, he said. When the words came out, the little lady's face froze. Seeing her shocked and worried about sleeping on the floor, Shin Yunian's mood improved again. There is no difference between the floor and the slate bed. It doesn't matter where you sleep. In fact, this bed is very big and can sleep 2 people. Shin Yunian raised his eyebrows, as if he didn't expect the delicate little lady to have such a suggestion. Really, you can try it if you don't believe it, Su Yanqi said. Shin Yunian certainly believed it. Since the little lady didn't mind, he didn't mind it even more. He turned over and lay on the other side. The seat cushion was too soft, and Shin Yunian didn't feel very comfortable when he slept. Only the little lady liked this kind of thing that would sag when you slept on it. Sleepiness came quickly. In a daze, he heard Su Yanqi calling him twice, and then she turned over on the bed and lay gently not far from him. Although he was very sleepy just now, he couldn't fall asleep lying in bed at this moment. He didn't fall asleep until the breathing beside him gradually slowed down. Shin Yunian lay flat on his back in a restless manner, opened his eyes, and looked at the ceiling, and caught a glimpse of a bulging ball in the quilt from the corner of his eye. Su Yanqi's blanket was covering her head, and her whole body was swaying on the edge of the bed, giving Shin Yunian the illusion that she would fall at any time. After thinking for a moment, he opened the quilt and reached out to grab her. Unexpectedly, the girl rolled into his arms like a small stone, and her face was so directly pressed against his chest, so close that he could see her long feather eyelashes very directly. Shen Yunyan's hand was hanging in the air helplessly. Su Yanqi was sleeping soundly, and there was no intention of waking up. The gentle breathing sound beside his ear soothed his inner confusion. He tucked the quilt and closed his eyes. Forget it, I won't push her away. The sky was as dark as ink. As she slept, Su Yanqi felt that her face was about to be flattened. She opened her eyes in a daze, but what she saw was a clear chin line. Realizing the current situation, she suddenly woke up without any sleepiness. At some point, the two of them changed their sleeping posture to hugging each other, and she could clearly hear his steady and powerful heartbeat. Su Yanqi pushed tentatively, but the other's hand on her waist did not move at all. In this situation, if Shen Yunyan was woken up, it would definitely be very embarrassing. Su Yanqi thought, since the posture changed from hugging while sleeping, maybe if they continue to sleep, their posture would return to the original position? Makes sense. So, Su Yanqi happily got a warm natural oven, and coaxed herself to continue sleeping. The next day, when Su Yanqi woke up, she was the only one in the bed, and Shen Yunyan was nowhere to be found. She got out of bed, and asked an old woman next door, only to find out that he had gone to dig with the miners. Su Yanqi didn't know where Shen Yunyan went to dig, and she didn't dare to go alone, so she waited in the cave angrily for a whole morning. When Shen Yunyan came back, she immediately asked, "Why didn't you call me to go mining?" She was angry, like a blowfish with hair flying. Shen Yunyan handed the meal he brought back from the canteen in the mining area to Su Yanqi and said, "I forgot. Let's go together in the afternoon." Su Yanqi said, "Okay." In the afternoon, Shen Yunyan took Su Yanqi to the place where he dug in the morning to get a pickaxe and a basket to continue digging. He dug very quickly, and soon he had laid a bottom for the basket, and the little lady beside him kept following his pace at the beginning, but then it became slower and slower. When he dug almost, he looked up and found that the little lady was completely gritting her teeth and holding on. "Stop digging." Shen Yunyan pursed his lips. Su Yanqi had tears in her eyes. "I don't want to dig, but they said we have to dig 100 black crystal ores, otherwise we will be beaten." She doesn't have a mining system now, she is just an ordinary person, and she has realized how difficult it is to dig 100 ores. Mining is never an easy task. You don't know when you can dig ores, and you don't know whether there are ores in the direction you dig. All of this adds difficulty to the task of 100 ores. Seeing that Su Yanqi hasn't stopped yet, Shen Yunyan grabbed his wrist and took the pickaxe from her hand. Su Yanqi looked at Shen Yunyan with tears in her eyes full of astonishment. "I dig?" Shen Yunyan said. The strength on his wrist, not too light or too heavy, and the mature roughness made Su Yanqi feel at ease instantly. When she knew that she really had to work as a coolie to dig 100 ores, she really backed off. As far as she was concerned, she would definitely not be able to complete the task. If Shen Yunyan was not awakened, she would have to go first and be beaten to death in this dark mine. Shen Yunyan was willing to help, which made Su Yanqi feel relieved, but also worried about him. In this case, he was almost completing the task of two people alone. Because of her appearance, Shen Yunyan had to endure double the suffering. Can she really wake him up? Su Yanqi squatted on the side, holding her cheek and watching Shen Yunyan digging without raising his head, like a ruthless mining machine. The ore in the basket increased visibly. Seeing the water droplets oozing from his forehead, she felt very uncomfortable. When weighing the crystal ore, Su Yanqi realized that Shen Yunyan had completed the task in the morning, and was helping her complete the task at the beginning of the afternoon. So from the beginning, he expected that she couldn't dig so many ores, and from the beginning, he planned to dig out her share. Su Yanqi couldn't tell what she felt in her heart. On the way back to the cave after receiving the meal, Su Yanqi couldn't help but say, "Shen Yunyan, am I stupid?" The proud young lady doubted herself for the first time in her life. After digging 200 ores, Shen Yunyan replied as if nothing had happened. Everyone has something they are not good at. This made the lost Su Yanqi suddenly have an idea. It makes sense, she is not good at mining. But she is good at agronomy. Moreover, she also knows the location of wheat and grapes. Maybe she can find more edible things. Su Yanqi had a bold idea in her mind. While eating, she pushed the batter to Shen Yunyan while constantly thinking about it. She felt that she could try to find those foods. Even if she didn't eat them herself, she could exchange them for some good things. "Shen Yunyan, you eat more." This plan still needs Shen Yunyan's help. "I have a bold idea. Tomorrow I want to go out and see if I can find anything useful." Su Yanqi couldn't say it too bluntly. After all, she was just a kid who hadn't gone to college yet, but it sounded like she was trying to be lazy, so she added, "I don't mean to be lazy, it's just..." "I know. Shin Yunian drank 2 servings of batter without hesitation. You can just do it. When he spoke, he didn't even raise his eyes, and Su Yanqi saw the shadow of Shin Yunian in the future in him for no reason. He seemed to have always been very tolerant of her, and he followed her in everything just like a loyal little brother. Su Yanqi was so touched. She almost promised to hang out with her sister and protect her. She was mainly afraid that the banditry would scare Shin Yunian. If she wanted to go out to explore the woods, she could not wear a cumbersome dress. Su Yanqi set her eyes on Shin Yunian's clothes. If she asked Shin Yunian to wear a skirt, would he be beaten to death? What do you want? Just say it. Shin Yunian saw her little thoughts. There are many snakes, rats, insects, and ants in the woods. I have to protect myself. The skirt is not convenient. Can I borrow your clothes? Su Yanqi was embarrassed to ask. Shin Yunian seemed to be shocked, stunned, and said, okay. Why is your face red? Are you too tired today? Yeah. Or I should go mining, at least I can dig a little. No, I wash my clothes and wear them tomorrow. Oh okay, you really don't need me to go mining? Yeah. A dreamless night. When she woke up again, Shin Yunian went out early like yesterday. Su Yanqi changed into Shin Yunian's clothes and pants, took a small blanket, and went to explore the woods as planned. With her familiarity with the woods, Su Yanqi quickly found the location of the wheat. The timing was just right, and the wheat at this location was just ripe, but the scale was not as large as later. Su Yanqi spent the whole morning collecting wheat ears, and her fingers were sore, and she only picked a quarter. Wrapping up the blanket, Su Yanqi calculated the time to go home. Shin Yunian had already returned from mining, and was waiting for her in the cave. Shin Yunian. Look! This is the good stuff I found. Su Yanqi ran over happily, and when she got closer, she whispered and excitedly opened the blanket to show Shin Yunian. Hey! Why are you dressed like this? Shin Yunian's upper body was bare, and his lower body was wrapped in animal skin. Su Yanqi fanned the air to cool down her flushed face. At a young age, Shin Yunian's figure was already very attractive. Shin Yunian didn't speak for a long time, and she realized that his face looked a little bad. What's wrong with you? Did you encounter anything bad? Su Yanqi suppressed her smile. No. Shin Yunian pinched a wheat ear and asked, what is this? This is wheat. When it dries, it can be ground into powder and eaten as pancakes. Su Yanqi was very excited when talking about what he was good at, and put the previous doubts behind him. Not bad, but come back earlier next time. Okay, I don't know the time, I came by the sky. Next time I come back late, don't wait for me to eat. You put the food aside and I come back to eat. Su Yanqi said. Shin Yunian, In the afternoon, Su Yanqi harvested another quarter. At night, at Shin Yunian's strong request, the two went out together, harvested all the wheat ears overnight, and then dried them on the spot. Oh, I brought the wheat ears back this morning. Really, I wouldn't have wasted my efforts if I had known. It's so nice to dry them here. I hope it won't rain tomorrow. Yeah. Looking at the wheat ears spread out, Su Yanqi stretched happily and said with Shin Yunian, it's a pity that there are too few wheat ears in this piece. The two returned to the cave together and lay on the bed. Su Yanqi realized how cold the air was without the blanket. Shivering with cold, just when she was thinking of something else to divert her attention, a strong arm suddenly pulled her over, and then she fell into a warm embrace. With her head pressed against Shin Yunian's chin and her back against his warm chest, she suddenly felt warm all over, or rather, hot. Su Yanqi froze, not daring to move, fearing that she was not asleep. But Shin Yunian had to touch her bottom line. Are you still cold? Su Yanqi hesitated for a long time, wondering whether to continue pretending to sleep, until the seas dried up and the rocks crumbled, and things changed. But in reality, only a few minutes had passed. The longer she dragged on, the harder it was to answer, so she said, it's not cold anymore. In fact, she felt that the right thing to do at this moment should be to give Shin Yunian a big slap, but another idea was rampant. They were all children, and the understanding of hugging was very different from that of adults. He simply felt that it was not cold this way. It was not cold when two people snuggled up to each other, which was the most direct idea of a child. Su Yanqi thought, anyway, it was really not cold now, so she didn't want to suffer for nothing. Close your eyes. Go to sleep. Do it tomorrow. On a new day, Su Yanqi went to the wheat field to check on the wheat first, and was surprised to find that a new crop of wheat had grown overnight, and it had even entered the harvest period. Su Yanqi, shock, if it weren't for the full wheat ears on the blanket, she would have suspected that she hadn't harvested all the wheat. When this magical thing happened, she suddenly remembered that this was not the real world, and it was normal for the plant growth cycle to deviate. Thinking that there would be a steady supply of wheat to eat in the future, Su Yanqi was almost happy. Then, she went to the grapes. She remembered that there were snakes here, so she was very careful when she walked, and she had to think twice before taking every step. Finally, she picked a small pocket of grapes and went back. When Shen Yunyan came back, Su Yanqi gave him washed grapes to eat, and then told him about the new discovery. The wheat has grown again. A new crop of wheat grows every day, and I will never complain about it being too little in the future. And this is grapes, sweet and sour, delicious. Seeing Su Yanqi's curved eyebrows, Shen Yunyan's eyebrows became more gentle. Is it delicious? Delicious. It's a pity that life will not always be so dull. On the rest day that Su Yanqi set for herself, she followed Shen Yunyan to the mining area. On the way, she met a man lying on the road with blood all over his body. I don't know if he is dead or alive. Su Yanqi glanced at the man's face. His face was still very tender and looked younger than them. She and Shen Yunyan were not nosy people, and went to mine step by step. This time, the quiet mine cave was more gossipy. This couple is really inhuman. They let such a young child out to fend for himself. How could a child possibly complete the mission? He'd probably be beaten to death by the captain. That is to say, if you can't afford to raise a child, don't give birth. Sure too is so pitiful. Su Yanqi helped Shen Yunyan pick up, and listened to it out of boredom, and caught the key word sure too. She was shocked. Could that be Sure? Su Yanqi looked at Shen Yunyan, and he had no other emotions for sure too. In theory, sure too shouldn't die, and he would be saved by kind people. Su Yanqi waited and watched for 2 days, and sure too woke up, leaning against the wall, dying in the corner. No one seemed willing to save him. Su Yanqi guessed that it was probably Shen Yunyan who saved Sure too before. But the key is now, Shen Yunyan passed by Sure too without even giving him an extra glance, as if it was unlikely that he would save him. If Shen Yunyan lost his only friend in his memory, could he still be awakened? Su Yanqi didn't know, but it was better not to let this variable happen. When passing by Sure too once, Su Yanqi couldn't help but look at him a few more times, and Sure too suddenly reached out and grabbed Shen Yunyan's ankle. Save me. A pitiful and humble call. Su Yanqi took the opportunity to suggest, otherwise, let's save him. Su Yanqi certainly knew how unreasonable her request was. It was obvious that Shenshur couldn't mine. To save Shenshur, not only did he have to provide him with a place to recuperate, but he also had to mine more. The key is that because of Su Yanqi, Shen Yunyan is already doing the work of 2 people. If Shenshur is added, Shen Yunyan will have to do the work of 3 people. Even an indestructible body can't stand such a thing. But if Shenshur died because of her misfortune, she felt that she was too inhumane. Okay. For the first time, Shen Yunyan didn't refuse. Su Yanqi felt very uncomfortable. Sometimes she couldn't help wondering whether she came to wake up Shen Yunyan or to cause trouble for him. Bringing Shenshur back to the cave, Shen Yunyan threw him on the floor to fend for himself. From now on, Shen Yunyan got up early and went to bed late every day, completing his own tasks in the morning, Su Yanqi's tasks in the afternoon, and Shenshur's tasks in the evening, without a moment's rest. Shenshur was not idle either, and seemed to grind flour day and night to prove his worth. Su Yanqi was the most idle among the 3 people. Fortunately, Shen Yunyan got a curtain from somewhere to separate the beds, so Su Yanqi's face was preserved by lying in the curtain and sleeping soundly. In terms of food, Su Yanqi shared her batter with Shenshur, and the part that Shen Yunyan didn't have enough was supplemented by grapes. Fruits don't make you feel full, and grapes are sour, and you get hungry quickly. Su Yanqi thought, she urgently needs a pancake. She soon found a candidate for who to exchange the pot with, and that was Xiaohai. But now they are all little brats. Will the adults give Xiaohai such great authority? Facts have proved that Su Yanqi's worries are unnecessary. Xiaohai is not only young at this moment, but also spoiled by his parents, and he is also stupid and rich. Su Yanqi only changed a pot, and Xiaohai also added countless bottles and jars of daily necessities as a gift, and asked her to send it over when there are delicious things. Su Yanqi smiled and said nothing. After the exchange, she would not bother to bring food to exchange for other things, but she did not expect that Xiaohai had mastered the skill of going to Su Yanqi's cave to eat. When Shen Yunyan came back, he found a stranger. Who is he? Shen Yunyan's face was gloomy. Brother Nian, sister Shi and I are friends, Xiaohai said familiarly. He was sweet-mouthed, and many people in the mining area liked him. It can be said that he was a popular person in the mining area. However, Shen Yunyan obviously did not like him, and his face became even more livid after he greeted him. Friend? Shen Yunyan repeated, staring at Xiao Hai for a while, as if he wanted to see through him. Xiao Hai felt frank. Yes, Sister Shi's pancakes are so delicious. Su Yinchi explained. He is the one who changed the pot for me. Yeah. Shen Yunian sat in his old seat, eating cakes with a tense face. Su Yinchi commented in his heart. People, solid evidence. Xiao Hai ate with oil dripping from his mouth. In order to have the nerve to come to eat for free next time, he said nice things like it was free, which made Su Yinchi very happy. She knew there was an exaggeration, but who doesn't like to hear nice things? After eating and drinking, Xiao Hai left with a round belly and was satisfied. Before leaving, he did not forget to say, Sister Shi, tell me if you need any seasoning, I will find someone to get it. In this way, Su Yinchi was no longer uncomfortable with him coming to eat for free. After Qinshi finished eating, he also returned to his cave. His injuries were almost healed, and he could go mining with Shen Yunian recently. However, Shen Yunian was a little strange. He hugged Su Yinchi tightly when he slept at night. So tight that she couldn't breathe. Shen Yunian, loosen up a bit, it's too tight. After she said that, the iron-like arms still stubbornly circled her, and she couldn't help but patted them twice. I'm not cold, loosen up. Shen Yunian was still indifferent. Su Yinchi struggled in vain and gave up. I don't know what Shen Yunian was thinking. When she was half asleep, he suddenly said, You always call me when you need me, and kick me away when you don't need me, right? This dark statement drove Su Yinchi's sleepiness away without a trace. Although she did not refuse Shen Yunian to hold her, because she was cold, Shen Yunian held her every day afterwards. She thought that they were all children anyway, so she didn't feel embarrassed to refuse. She just took the opportunity to test him a little today, and didn't strongly ask him not to hold her. This can also be labeled as kick me out after use? This kind of dark and extreme thought is definitely not what little Shen Yunian should have. It is definitely the real Shen Yunian. So he woke up? Su Yinchi shouted uncertainly. Shen Yunian, is it you? Yeah. He didn't say anything extra. Su Yinchi felt that if it was the real Shen Yunian, he would have let her go consciously. So which Shen Yunian is this? Or did he just wake up for a while? Su Yinchi didn't want to care about it. What's important now is that Shen Yunian has changed his bad habit of hugging people to sleep. Shen Yunian, have you ever heard of a saying that men and women should not be intimate? No. Shen Yunian decisively blocked Su Yinchi's mouth with 2 words. However, she must explain this truth clearly. That is to say, boys and girls generally cannot have close contact unless they are husband and wife. Do you understand? I'm so sleepy, go to sleep. Shen Yunian's chin rested on Su Yinchi's head, and he said in a muffled voice. Then, no matter how Su Yinchi called him, he didn't say anything. This state of being unresponsive gave Su Yinchi a headache. He must understand, but he just pretended not to understand. Must he take advantage of her? Shen Yunian didn't learn well at a young age. No wonder he was so bad when he grew up. If it weren't for the fact that he was a child, she would have taught him a lesson with her fists. However, the next day, she found the adult version of Shen Yunian in bed. When you wake up, the impact of a boy lying on the bed is different from that of a man. The former can still be free of distractions, while the latter is like a beast invading the territory, with a strong presence that cannot be ignored at all. As Shen Yunian grew up, his animal ears became more obvious and emerged from his hair. Su Yinchi resisted the urge to pull his hair, and woke Shen Yunian up. What happened? Shen Yunian, why did we suddenly grow up? Su Yinchi asked. Shen Yunian seemed to be more confused than her. He pushed her back to the bed, hugged her in his arms, and said intimately, Cece, what are you talking about? Did you have a nightmare? It was so natural that Su Yinchi could think that they were supposed to be like this. However, the last person who called Su Yinchi like this was the cheap fiancé. Shen Yunian had never called her like this before. He seemed to call her Miss often. Now calling her Cece gave her goosebumps all over the floor. Shen Yunian, wait! Don't you think it's inappropriate for us to do this? Shen Yunian opened his eyelids and looked at Su Yinchi lazily. What's inappropriate? Too close. Besides, aren't you going to mine early in the morning? But we are husband and wife, and we have done more intimate things, just hugging each other. Su Yinchi's brain crashed, and she didn't know whether she should react to the first half of the sentence, we are husband and wife, or the second half of the sentence, we have done more intimate things. She didn't understand why Shen Yunian added such a strange setting to her memory. When are you going to mine? Su Yinchi changed the subject. She had to sort out what happened recently, and think about how to wake up Shen Yunian. If this goes on, the world will become unrecognizable. Maybe because of something in her mind, she accidentally cut her pants while exploring in the woods, and her equipment was damaged. She could only end today's trip and return empty-handed. Fortunately, she took off her pants when she got home to see how to make up for it. Shin Yunyan's clothes were long enough, so she didn't have to worry about exposing herself. After staring at the pants for a long time, she had to accept a sad fact. In this corner where everyone wrapped themselves in a piece of cloth, she couldn't find needles and thread, and the pants were probably scrapped. When Shin Yunyan returned to the cave, she saw the dejected young lady, wearing only a top that revealed 2 white and shining calves, and a pair of tattered pants hanging in the air. At this moment, he was extremely clear that she was wearing his clothes. Shin Yunyan pressed his back teeth. When the young lady saw him, she said aggrievedly, "I'm sorry, I ruined my pants." Only after experiencing the scarcity of supplies can you understand the serious consequences of these small things being damaged. Without pants, she probably couldn't continue to shuttle in the woods, exposing her skin to the air, and she didn't know how she died. Shin Yunyan touched her head and said to her, "It's okay." Then he turned around and went out before he sat down to rest for a while. After a while, he came back with a brand new pair of pants. Su Yanqi should be happy. But all this is too coincidental. She ruined a pair of pants, and Shin Yunyan could immediately change into a new pair of pants? This is a remote mining planet with scarce supplies, not a capital planet where you can buy all kinds of daily necessities as soon as you go out. Even if you can buy it, you need to wait for a while, right? Under all the absurd appearances, she discovered the truth that she had never paid attention to. She felt that Shin Yunyan seemed to be able to control this memory world. Yesterday, she just told him that only husband and wife can have intimate contact, and today they became husband and wife. In the past, she said there was too little wheat, so wheat became 1 crop per day. Including entering the low-level mining area, everything has been too smooth, so smooth that, except for Chinsher's experience, Su Yanqi did not feel that this memory was anything dark except for the bitterness and fatigue. More seriously, wasn't the darkest time when he was exiled? But at that time, he seemed to have recovered a long time ago, but he didn't wake up for a long time. It turned out that Shin Yunyan beautified all this, so everything became so harmonious. So, he probably regained consciousness a long time ago. Is it fun to lie to me like this? Shin Yunyan. Su Yanqi was a little ghost. She worked hard here to rack her brains to think about how to wake him up. Because of the guilt in her heart, she risked her life to save him, including just reflecting on a pair of torn pants for a whole day, which seemed like a joke to others. If this was just a revenge game he planned when he was free, then it can stop here now. You know all this, right? Su Yanqi showed his cards. Cici, what are you talking about? This is your memory world. Su Yanqi said, you were exiled to Cinnabar Star alone, mind alone, and saved Chinsher alone. In fact, I never existed. I am an alien soul. In reality, we are not husband and wife, but just familiar strangers. Maybe she should have made it clear to him from the beginning. Maybe he would have woken up long ago, and they would have already left the black box. Shin Yunyan watched the beautiful red lips say things he didn't like to hear. Cici, you are wrong. Shin Yunyan's smile was replaced by a serious face. Is it because you are too anxious about the pants? Why did you start talking nonsense? Shin Yunyan. Shin Yunyan did not give Su Yanqi a chance to speak. Do you want to go back to the Su family? This is your smart brain, you can contact them. He spread his palm, and inside was the smart brain that she had thrown into outer space a long time ago and should now be floating space garbage. The surreal scene confirmed Su Yanqi's guess. He can indeed control the memory world. Su Yanqi was so angry that she didn't want to talk. Shin Yunyan also noticed her mood change, and her tone gradually became anxious. Were we not fine before? Were we not very happy? Are you tired of living here? Where do you want to go? The palace? The Su family? Other planets? Every time he said a place, the scene around the two of them changed to the corresponding place. Shin Yunyan's control of memory is simply irrefutable. When did you regain consciousness? Su Yanqi asked. Her mood has calmed down. What do you mean by recovery? Cici, I've always been like this. Are you angry? Shin Yunyan was also confused. Su Yanqi couldn't help but doubt her judgment because of his innocent look. Forget it, forget it. I ask you, since you can control the world of consciousness, can you feel that there is a person exactly like you here? Where is he? Shin Yunyan thought for a moment and said, it seems that there is one. Where is he? Shin Yunyan looked at the anxious Su Yanqi and kept silent. What's wrong? Su Yanqi asked. He's sleeping. Shin Yunyan said. Can you summon him out? Su Yanqi asked. The answer to her was Shin Yunyan's specific actions. Suddenly, a person appeared on the bed. Su Yanqi felt more familiar with that person. It was Shin Yunyan she knew. Su Yanqi touched her nose. I thought he had regained consciousness. He didn't tell her for so long just to see her get humiliated and take revenge on her. Unexpectedly, he really hasn't woken up yet. Now that the soul has been found, how to wake him up is another new problem. Little Shen Yunian seemed to be aware of Su Yanqi's predicament and said, if he feels the stimulation from the outside world, maybe he can wake up. External stimulation? Su Yanqi thought for a moment, rolled up her sleeves, raised her hand, and little Shen Yunian held her wrist, preventing Shen Yunian from being slapped and beaten. It's not like this. Little Shen Yunian said, maybe you should give him a breath. Speak human language. Su Yanqi withdrew her hand in disappointment. Kiss him. Su Yanqi stared at little Shen Yunian suspiciously for a while, always feeling something was wrong. But she couldn't think of any other way for the time being, so she could only try this unreliable method. If he doesn't wake up, you're dead. After getting ready, Su Yanqi gently kissed the sleeping Shen Yunian on the lips. There was no special feeling, not even the feeling of a living person. It was like being touched by a piece of paper. But surprisingly, Shen Yunian woke up, opened his eyes, and looked at Su Yanqi, who was kissing him in shock. That look, as if Su Yanqi was committing a crime. I can explain. Su Yanqi jumped up and almost swore to the sky to prove her innocence. Miss, there is no need to swear, I believe, otherwise you would not kiss a robber, a bad seed, and a scum in your eyes. Su Yanqi rolled her eyes. This person is not annoying when he is asleep. When will this hurdle be turned over? Her ears are calloused from listening. However, this also confirmed that it was Shen Yunian himself. Su Yanqi was about to say something when Shen Yunian suddenly hugged her, and a warm breath gushed out from her neck. He lowered his head and whispered in her ear, "Thank you." Su Yanqi pushed him away decisively. He still likes to hug her wherever she goes. Although everything went well, Su Yanqi always felt weird. It's better if these are all true. Otherwise she will. Otherwise, he will be dead. Chapter 59. After the two souls returned to their places, the one who was most unhappy was the system. It was about to vomit blood. Such a great opportunity, the food was about to be fed into his mouth. But Shen Yunian was still indifferent, and Su Yanqi, who came out safely, didn't lose a single hair. Doesn't he like pure souls? Is it that pure souls are not delicious enough? The system can't understand what these human brains full of nerve endings are thinking. Compared with the way Shen Yunian didn't listen to the arrangement at all and refused to communicate with it, it felt that Su Yanqi was remarkable except for the dishes, and it was better for her to be the host. Su Yanqi is easy to coax, and Shen Yunian can't figure it out at all. Since the host candidate has not changed, it is better for Su Yanqi to return to the body as soon as possible. Host, it is detected that your body functions are intact, but you have fallen into a coma and need treatment as soon as possible. Su Yanqi's eyes changed slightly. There was an explosion, but her body functions were intact? This was too unbelievable. According to common sense, she should have been dead. Not to mention being reduced to ashes, but almost to skin fragments. Unless the system did something to save her body. In this case, things became strange. Why did the system wait until now to tell her that her body was fine? Once people become suspicious, they will become reserved. Su Yanqi suppressed her doubts and asked, "Where is my body now?" It was published in the newspaper, in the Capital First Hospital. Your body has entered a closed state due to an external emergency, and you can no longer travel through the soul. You can only treat the body first and remove the body's defense mechanism before the soul can return. So, I have to find the body first, right? Su Yanqi summed it up succinctly. Right. Su Yanqi alone cannot find a body. She needs Shen Yunian's help. She crawled to Shen Yunian's left ear and shouted, Shen Yunian, emergency. What's wrong? Shen Yunian put down the documents in his hand and asked. She couldn't directly reveal the existence of the system, so she just said, my soul has been out of the body for too long, I must find a body and return to it, otherwise I will really die. Shen Yunian didn't answer and asked the system, did you tell her? Yes. Shen Yunian curled his lips sarcastically. Don't you want to eat her for me? Why let her return to the body now? Do you want to sacrifice her to others? He asked. Although he is not the host, the system feels very stressed when listening to him. Don't you want to eat? The only two hosts the system can choose in this world are you and her. If you don't want to be the host, she will continue to be the host. Really? Shen Yunian asked back. Everything the system said is true. Your actions don't make people believe you. But the system never lied. After a conversation, the system was glad that it didn't choose this extremely suspicious man as its host, otherwise it would take a lot of time to explain the terms in the future. After thinking for a while, Shin Yunyan seemed to accept its words, and said to Su Yanqi, "How to find it? You need to take me back to the capital planet." Su Yanqi said. "Okay." Shin Yunyan agreed. Su Yanqi thought she had to say something to convince him, but she didn't expect him to be so straightforward. "Alas, if the spaceship that sent you here was still there, we could take the spaceship and leave. Now we don't know how to leave Cinnabar Star." Su Yanqi regretted. "Spaceship? Easy," Shin Yunyan said, picking up the document in his hand, which was the peace letter sent by Boss Een. It was written on the paper that as long as his daughter was not harmed, everything would be fine, and Qinsha Star could be taken. Shin Yunyan immediately set off to negotiate with Boss Een. Xiao Hai was very worried. Maybe it's a trick. Shin Yunyan now saw that Xiao Hai's nose was not a nose, and his eyes were not eyes. "You talk too much nonsense." Xiao Hai was scolded and confused. He didn't remember when he offended Brother Nien? Why did he speak so harshly? The negotiation with Boss Een went smoothly. Boss Een promised to evacuate Qinsha Star immediately after receiving his daughter, and he would not interfere in the internal affairs of Qinsha Star in the future. But he won't break up the couple? Su Yanqi asked worriedly. It's too immoral to sell this young couple suddenly. Shin Yunyan asked for Su Yanqi's doubts, and Boss Een replied, "Let the young people deal with their own affairs. I don't want to care." If it weren't for the disagreement with his daughter over this matter, his daughter would not be involved in the civil strife on Cinnabar Star, and he would not be so frightened for dozens of days. During this period of time, he also figured it out. Nothing is more important than his daughter's life. As long as she is healthy and happy, it's fine. As for marriage, if he really meets that blind scumbag, he will beat him up so badly that even his parents won't recognize him. Besides, his Een family's daughter is confident. What's a man? If you meet a scumbag, just take it as an experience. But he was a little surprised that the young man who led the Cinnabar Star Miners' uprising was so concerned about his daughter's affairs. He was a young man with feelings and righteousness, and he didn't mind selling him a good thing. Qin Chong has long disappeared. As long as I withdraw, Cinnabar Star will be leaderless. You can do whatever you want. This deal is a good deal. The two reached an agreement. Boss Een took his daughter back. Although he was not happy with his cheap son-in-law, it was much better than his previous attitude of either me or you. Shin Yunyan took over Cinnabar Star with great vigor, and suppressed a small part of the opposing voice, Ross. The entire Cinnabar Star has been transformed, and a new chapter has begun. Chen Shi was still a little unconfident when he entered the mine owner's office. That's it? The mecha they made has not been put into use yet. The soldiers who have been trained for a long time have not been on the battlefield, and they haven't even seen the enemy, and it's already? The big man who has been suppressing the miners for a lifetime was easily defeated in an instant. It turns out that it is not difficult to get a better world. The difficulty is that they must first have the courage to fight against the world. But will the mine owner bring in powerful reinforcements? Qin Shi was still worried. Su Yanqi was afraid that Shin Yunyan would also worry, so she said, "Don't worry, the queen gave me the Cinnabar Star. Strictly speaking, this is still your credit. When I return to my body, I will transfer the Cinnabar Star to your name, or do you want something else? If I ask for the owner of the planet, can you give it to me?" Shin Yunyan said. He didn't say it loudly, and it was already blurred when it reached Su Yanqi's ears through the bones. She only heard a few broken characters. "What?" "Nothing. Anything is fine. I don't want anything in particular," Shin Yunyan said. This time his voice was very clear, but Su Yanqi was sure that he didn't say this in the previous sentence. After taking over Qinsha Star, Shin Yunyan obtained the right to use the only spaceship on the Sand Star. At Su Yanqi's urging, he ate 2 bites of radish and drove the spaceship off. Qinsha Star is remote, and the spaceship is relatively old. It takes at least 2 days and 1 night to reach the capital star. Only Shin Yunyan can drive the spaceship on the way. They need to find a transfer station to eat something and rest. Before leaving, Shin Yunyan explained the affairs of Qinsha Star. The two of them got on the spaceship alone and started their journey to the capital star. Along the way, Su Yanqi chattered, but he didn't feel bored. Shin Yunyan chose to stay on Mingwang Star and found a hotel closest to the port. Su Yanqi has been lying on Shin Yunyan's eyes and looking at the outside world. The hotel conditions chosen by Shin Yunyan are not good. A small room costs 500 star coins a night. Taking the room card, entering the room, Shin Yunyan went straight to the bathroom. "What are you doing?" Su Yanqi asked reflexively when he saw him so anxious. "Go to the toilet." Shin Yunyan stood in front of the toilet and unbuckled his belt, then paused. "Miss, do you want to see it?" Su Yanqi was frightened and fell backwards. "Pervert. How could I want to see it?" After reacting, she realized that she had been pulling Shin Yunyan's eye sockets to look out. So she hurriedly stepped back, and only vaguely felt some blurred after images and embarrassing sounds through Shin Yunyan's eyes. Can't you go slower next time? Su Yanqi breathed a sigh of relief. I almost saw something I shouldn't have seen, and my eyes were about to get sty. People have 3 urgent needs, miss, please forgive me, Shin Yunyan said. The moon was on the willow branches, and Shin Yunyan lay on the soft bed to rest. Su Yanqi was exhausted from talking all day, and she felt sleepy early, and slept unconsciously. In a daze, she felt that she was gently embraced by a familiar embrace, as if she accidentally fell into a blazing furnace, causing her to get hotter and hotter, and then she woke up sweating profusely, and it was already the next day. Touching the non-existent sweat on her forehead, Su Yanqi felt that she must have had a dream. The impression left by Shin Yunyan in the black box was too deep for her. However, her feeling was correct. Shin Yunyan's body temperature was rising, and her feet were about to be burned when she stepped on the ground. Shin Yunyan, what are you doing? Do you have a fever? Afraid that Shin Yunyan couldn't hear, she deliberately endured the heat, and ran to his ears to call for help. Shin Yunyan didn't speak, but his breathing frequency was a little abnormal, as if he was doing some strenuous exercise. Su Yanqi felt very strange, and ran to his eyes, but he didn't open his eyes, and she couldn't see anything. You are so weird. Are you having a nightmare? Wake up, Shin Yunyan, I will be burnt if this continues. Su Yanqi ran back to Shin Yunyan's ear so that he could hear clearly. Cece, bear with it, Shin Yunyan said. The voice was so soft that Su Yanqi suspected that she had heard it wrong, but she heard it clearly. He called her Cece, and asked her to bear with it. As the temperature in her body rose, Su Yanqi felt more and more uncomfortable. She couldn't help complaining. Shin Yunyan, what are you doing? Can you stop? Can you take care of my life? It's really hot. I'm going to get heat stroke. Su Yanqi didn't know if the soul body would get heat stroke. Anyway, she felt that she was about to faint. Cece, call me brother, I will stop, okay? Call me brother. Su Yanqi had a big question mark on her head. Is she addicted to hearing people call her brother? When you are under someone's roof, you have to bow your head. In order to avoid being overheated, Su Yanqi decisively bowed to the evil forces. Brother? Brother, can you stop? After the first shout, it was not so shameful. However, no matter how many times Su Yanqi repeated it, even using the most useful phrase brother, please, it didn't work, and her body temperature got higher and higher. Shin Yunyan, you lied. Su Yanqi was really going to faint, and was so angry that she fainted. After a suppressed and relieved groan, the temperature gradually dropped, and Shin Yunyan said in a hoarse voice, Thank you, Cece. Su Yanqi was confused by the thanks. Shouldn't he feel sorry? What was there to thank? Feeling Shin Yunyan stand up, Su Yanqi quickly ran to Shin Yunyan's eyes. She wanted to see what shameful things Shin Yunyan was doing behind her back. But when she ran to the eye socket, Shin Yunyan had already entered the bathroom and was washing his hands. Everything looked normal, except that his face was particularly ruddy. Su Yanqi stared at the man in the mirror suspiciously and asked, What were you doing just now? Why was your breathing so chaotic? Shin Yunyan also stared at the mirror seriously, as if looking at Su Yanqi through these eyes. Cece, do you really want to know? The evil smile on his lips made Su Yanqi's alarm bells ring. She wanted to say no, but she was more curious about what Shin Yunyan was covering up. I want to. Just to meet physiological needs. Shin Yunyan downplayed it. Su Yanqi was even more confused after hearing it. Does it mean that going to the toilet is so difficult to talk about, and so tiring? If you want to perfunctorily, just say it directly, why find such a ridiculous reason? After breakfast, Shin Yunyan restarted the spaceship. Su Yanqi was silent all the way, and couldn't help asking again, Tell the truth, what were you doing just now? Can you remind me next time? It's very uncomfortable, you know? Miss, I told you, I was solving physiological needs. Shin Yunyan's eyes flashed with interest, and then said, Cece really doesn't know what the physiological needs of adults are? Su Yanqi's pupils trembled, and she was so shocked that she couldn't speak. She opened her mouth, Of course she knew what it was. The reason why she never thought about it was because she felt abstinence when she saw Shin Yunyan, or because she had been in his body. She automatically ignored the primitive impulses of human beings. What was even more unexpected was that Shin Yunyan dared to make trouble in broad daylight. You are shameless and thick-skinned. I am still in your body. How can you do that? And he called her name, and asked her to call him brother. Su Yanqi wanted to travel back in time and beat herself to death, and then find a crack in the ground to squeeze in. Miss, this is my body, I am free to do whatever I want, and I can't bear my physiological needs," Shen Yunyan argued. "Madam, why don't you avoid it?" Su Yanqi was angry. "Miss, you must ask," Shen Yunyan said. "Okay, then I ask you, why did you call me when you did that?" Su Yanqi's speech was as fast as a machine gun, but she stopped abruptly. "What did you call me?" Shen Yunyan was not affected by Su Yanqi's rapid-fire questioning, and even smiled. Su Yanqi didn't want to talk. She suspected that this man with a horny mind was laughing at her. How annoying. Why did he call her name? Did he want to do something to her? It's so annoying. In the second half, Su Yanqi was so angry that she was speechless. Shen Yunyan tried to ease the atmosphere many times, but Su Yanqi ignored him and didn't look out of his eyes. She stayed in the dark heart all the time. The pitiful look made Shen Yunyan feel that he had committed an unforgivable heinous crime. Speaking these dirty things to the little lady really polluted her ears. She was right to hate him. But if it happened again, he would still obey his heart. Although some cheap tricks were used, this was the most intimate thing they had ever done together, wasn't it? She must be disgusted now, and didn't want to see him again. Maybe after she returned to her body, she would call the police to have him arrested and accuse him of being a hooligan. Silence was tormenting, but fortunately, arriving at the capital star ended this torturous journey. Shen Yunyan brought Su Yanqi to the first hospital of the capital and found Su Yanqi's ward. Su Yanqi took over her body and used the treatment card on her body. When she arrived at the ward, Su Yanqi found someone in the ward that she didn't expect. "Su Cheng?" She was puzzled. "You are here to take care of me, my friend? Who are you?" Su Cheng's face was full of vigilance. "I am your sister's friend, and I came to visit her," Su Yanqi said. "You don't even have a bouquet of flowers to visit a patient?" Su Cheng didn't believe it. "I came a little too hastily." Su Yanqi touched her nose, and under Su Cheng's scrutiny, she moved closer to her body, pretending to look at her with concern, but in fact she secretly used 10 treatment cards, and then called the system back to her body. After a blackout, she woke up again, lying on the bed with her whole body weak, and Su Cheng was the only one in the ward. Su Cheng was overjoyed to see Su Yanqi open her eyes, and even sit up by herself. Sure enough, those who said that Su Yanqi would be paralyzed and would never wake up were all quacks. "You woke up." She tried to make her voice sound less happy. "You are so lucky. We all thought you were dead." Su Yanqi ignored Su Cheng's hypocrisy, and the first sentence she asked was, "Where is Shen Yunyan?" Su Cheng didn't expect that when she woke up, the person she cared about was actually an unrelated man. He left. Who is he? Oh! Su Yanqi felt empty inside. She thought, he left on his own initiative. Don't let him accuse her of calling him when she needs him, and kicking him away when she doesn't. Chapter 60. Please, save my daughter. We can do anything. A heart-wrenching voice came from outside the house. Su Yanqi stopped thinking and looked at the door. Seeing this, Su Cheng muttered, Is this aunt annoying? She comes every day. People say she is dead. She thinks everyone is so lucky to survive the explosion. As she said, she walked out the door and said to the next door, Can you please stop going to the front? Other patients are still resting. The aunt ignored Su Cheng at first. She didn't care about other patients anymore. She only cared about her daughter's life or death. But suddenly, she saw the woman who just walked out behind Su Cheng. It was the little girl who was not injured at all in the explosion, but was just unconscious. It was also the noble friend that her daughter had been talking about happily. The aunt didn't believe that nobles would make friends with commoners, but now, she saw everyone as a life-saving straw. The doctor said that this little girl couldn't survive, but now she was standing in front of her and could run and jump. Does that mean that her daughter could also come back to life? When she thought of this, she was afraid that Su Yanqi would disappear in the blink of an eye, so she let go of the doctor who could only repeat 1 or 2 sentences and rushed to Su Yanqi. Su Cheng didn't know that Su Yanqi had come out, and thought that she was going to pounce on her, so she stood far away, which gave the aunt an opportunity. Her rough hands tightly wrapped around one of Su Yanqi's calves. The husband came back after completing the discharge procedures, and saw that his wife was harassing other patients. He rushed over to apologize and pulled his wife away. However, no matter how he pulled, his wife refused to let go, and he didn't dare to pull hard, for fear that it would cause others to fall. For a while, the two were in a stalemate. Su Yanqi was not angry. She asked softly, Who is your daughter? The aunt wiped her tears, seeing. Her voice was trembling, afraid that Su Yanqi would not remember, and emphasized, It's your friend, seeing. The husband had also heard his daughter mention that noble friend, but he would not naively believe it. These nobles have always been proud of driving the common people, and ashamed of being friends with the common people. The husband secretly protected his wife, fearing that her words would anger the noble girl in front of him and get kicked in vain. Su Yanqi remembered the common girl with 2 dimples when she smiled. Aunt. Uncle. Miss Su is a VIP guest of our hospital. If you disturb her like this, I will call security. The doctor stepped forward and said, after completing the discharge procedures, take the patient away and arrange the funeral. Hearing this, the aunt suddenly let go and slumped on the ground, chewing on 2 words in disbelief. Family? The husband was not much better, and he looked much older in an instant. Old people send young people away. This is fate. Su Yanqi pursed her lips and made a plan in her mind. Doctor, Li Xing is indeed my friend. I don't need to bother you here. After the doctor left, Su Yanqi said to Li Xing's mother, can I go in and see her? The aunt was a little absent-minded and nodded blankly. Su Yanqi, you are just a civilian, and you are about to die. Do you need to lower your status? Su Cheng cursed. You can go too, Su Yanqi said. Su Cheng's face was full of anger and shock. She wanted to argue for herself, who had been taking care of Su Yanqi, but she held back. She didn't want Su Yanqi to know that she had served her so hard. Otherwise, Su Yanqi would definitely laugh at her. Su Cheng turned away angrily. Su Yanqi has hands and feet. Nothing will happen to her. Was it wrong for her to advise her to have less contact with civilians? It was really a case of a dog biting Lu Dongbin. After sending away the irrelevant people, Su Yanqi entered Li Xing's ward. On the white bed sheet lay a person, who was burned beyond recognition, like a mummy, with only the dripping instrument indicating her vital signs. Without hesitation, she directly used 10 treatment cards on Li Xing. In just a few seconds, new flesh grew under the charred mechanism. Under the shocked eyes of the aunt and uncle, Li Xing's previous appearance was visibly restored to her previous appearance. The lovely daughter they had seen thousands of times is now back in their arms. Not incomplete, not disfigured, but complete and reborn. Hearing that familiar mom, God knows how lucky a mother is. The aunt burst into tears, and was so grateful that she wanted to kneel down to Su Yanqi. Su Yanqi stopped her. Don't worry, miss. We won't tell anyone about this. We will move immediately to a place where no one knows us. The uncle said that he didn't know how to call Su Yanqi, so he followed his daughter and called her miss. Su Yanqi waved her hand. No, on the contrary, I want you to spread the word. Beijing No. 1 Hospital specializes in treating various difficult and complicated diseases caused by physical injuries. It took Li Xing only 2 minutes to learn what happened from her mother. She suppressed the corners of her mouth that kept rising, and her heart was full of joy. The young lady not only cured her, but also said that she was her friend. It's great to run in both directions. Leave it to me, don't worry, miss, Li Xing said. She is a know-it-all with a wide network of information, so this kind of thing is easy to do. Let those injured in the explosion know the news first. This is Su Yanqi's fundamental purpose. She was not idle either. After waking up, she didn't even have time to go home. She called her driver at home and took a private spaceship to Waste Star No. 1. She built a shabby house without stopping, and then hung a sign of Waste Star No. 1 Hospital. A 3-no hospital was freshly baked. Soon, victims came to the door one after another. Seeing such a shabby hospital, they thought they were cheated, but soon their relatives miraculously recovered, and they knew that this mysterious hospital should not be underestimated. Su Yanqi learned some news from these victims. A total of 835 teachers and students were injured in the explosion, of which 721 had already given up treatment and left with the school compensation, and the remaining more than 100 people were continuing treatment. The official investigation result is that the explosion of the Imperial Military Academy was a terrorist attack organized by civilian rebels, and the mastermind has not been arrested yet. Su Yanqi wanted to laugh after hearing this. This is the usual way for the royal family to deal with difficult things. When they are undecided, they will blame the rebels first. A woman who had just cured her son said with tears in her eyes, if they are really civilian rebels, why don't they blow up the noble Mecha department building, but come to hurt the civilians? Look! This is the truth that everyone knows. No one believed it, but the royal family still did it. This incident caused the royal family's credibility among civilians to drop sharply. Patients came in and out of the Waste Star No. 1 hospital. When they came in, they were full of sorrow, and when they left, they were full of red glow. Most of the patients were victims of the bombing, but Su Yanqi found that Ningyu was not among them. She sent a message to Ningsu. Is Ningyu awake? Ningsu replied immediately. Is it him? Su Yanqi sent a selfie directly. Ningsu stared at the familiar fairy-like face in a trance, clicked on the picture to enlarge it, and rubbed it for a while. Which hospital? Ningyu was injured, and the Ning family was shrouded in a cloud, and almost everyone became less willing to smile. Ningyu was full of tubes, and was kept alive by expensive instruments, but the money lost could not buy back the same amount of life, nor could it stop the fact that his life was slipping away. It seemed that Ningyu's death was a foregone conclusion. Su Yanqi's awakening gave the Ning family a shot of confidence. Since Su Yanqi could wake up, Ningyu could definitely wake up too. Waystar No. 1 Hospital. Is it great? I haven't heard of it. I just opened it. Ning Su was dying of curiosity. Although Su Yanqi's words sounded like a fairy tale, he still believed it without hesitation. He did not tell the other members of the Ning family about the matter. This kind of thing would definitely cause opposition from others. He believed in Su Yanqi, but others might not. So, he quietly pushed Ningyu and various instruments onto the spacecraft and rushed to Waystar No. 1 overnight. Looking at the simple hospital in front of him, Ning Su did not question it, but only asked how to treat it. It's already cured. Ning Su? ? He had just pushed his brother off the spacecraft, and Su Yanqi didn't even move his hands, and told him that it was cured? Ning Su's whole brain was full of doubts, and he lowered his head reflexively, and his eyes were fixed. Ningyu rubbed his head and stood up. He pulled out the tubes that were in the way and complained, "Why did you mess up my body? You still looked like you deserved a beating." Ning Su couldn't help but slap his brother on the head. Hearing his cry of pain, he suddenly realized that he was a patient who had just woken up. He felt very guilty, and regretted not holding back his impulse. "Don't worry, you're still as tough as before," Su Yanqi said. "Sister Shi, why are you here too? You and my brother?" Ningyu started to wink. "Don't talk nonsense," Ning Su said first. Su Yanqi filled the greedy Ningyu with a lot of ripe strawberries, which moved this sunny boy to tears. "Sister Shi, I follow you from now on. Go away, your brother, and I have something to talk about." Su Yanqi pushed Ningyu away without mercy. No one interrupted. Su Yanqi asked, "You should have investigated the bombing case." Ning Su nodded. "What's going on?" Ning Su glanced at Su Yanqi, thought for a moment, and said, "It should be aimed at you." Su Yanqi was a little surprised, but she could understand. In such a large agricultural department, the only people who can be targeted are definitely not civilians, but only her and Ningyu, two nobles, either enemies of the Ning family or related to the Su family. Ningyu is ordinary and invisible in the noble circle. If Ning Su is to be targeted, it is more likely that he is Ning Su. Su Yanqi has been too active recently, acquiring 10 planets and selling natural plants. He should have provoked some kind of red-eye disease. To be able to do something like blowing up a teaching building, it should not be an insignificant red-eye disease. Su Yanqi raised a question. Ning Su's face looked a little ugly. Yes, it may be the work of the royal family. Su Yanqi didn't expect it to be related to the royal family. Su Cheng wanted to marry Xinjie and make the two surnames friendly, but they actually came to deal with her? Do they want to be relatives or enemies? You may not know that the Interstellar has fallen into an energy depletion crisis. Ning Su dropped a bombshell. Su Yanqi understood it immediately. So, the scarcity of natural food is not because the nobles reduced planting to show their status, but because of the depletion of energy. No one is willing to use the remaining energy to grow food for pleasure. The greater role of energy is as a military reserve material. So, when a person grows a lot of natural food, it means that she has a lot of energy mines. If Su Yanqi had known this earlier, she would definitely not have bought and sold vegetables so ostentatiously, and at such a cheap price. How could the energy be exhausted? Aren't there still many undeveloped primitive stars? This is what Su Yanqi couldn't figure out. There are different amounts of energy on each planet. Logically, as long as new planets are continuously developed, there will be a steady supply of energy for interstellar people to use. Although it is not environmentally friendly, there will be no energy crisis in the short term. There are too many monks and too little meat. The nobles have long been accustomed to squandering energy, but the planets are limited and can only meet the needs of some people. Su Yanqi sighed. No wonder he is envied. Selling vegetables grown with energy stones at the cheapest price, in the eyes of outsiders, isn't it just a waste of money and a sucker for energy mines? Even if Su Yanqi is backed by the Su family, the first noble family in the Interstellar, in the face of powerful interests, who doesn't want to take a gamble and take risks in exchange for future prosperity and wealth? Don't worry, I promise the Ning family will stand by you, Ning Su said seriously. It's okay, just a little annoying. Su Yanqi is not afraid. The Su family has a century-old foundation, and it is not easy to deal with. What's more, she has a system plug-in. When the nobles were still unaware, More than half of the members had become her slave miners. But do you have any evidence? Ning Su frowned. The surveillance was transferred away. There is no evidence, but it can be guessed that the royal family has been very close to the Yun family recently, and they have been putting pressure on the Su family to confiscate the 10-way stars under your name. They are probably in cahoots with each other. Su Yanqi didn't expect this to happen. These people don't even act for the sake of profit. They are so greedy. I know it's late, you go back first. She ordered them to leave. After knowing the whole picture, her thoughts were very confused, and she needed time to sort out what to do. Ning Su knew that she needed time to digest it, and carried Ning Yu, who was eating non-stop, to the spaceship. Hey, you guys finished talking so quickly? I haven't finished my strawberries yet. Ning Yu struggled. Ning Su was about to close the hatch to stop his brother, who was trying to rush down the spaceship, when two uniformed staff members brought 2 baskets of bright red strawberries and placed them in the cabin. This is a specialty prepared by the eldest lady for the guests. Attracted by the 2 baskets of strawberries, Ning Yu stopped talking. Brother, what did you talk about? Sister, she is so generous. She will be my sister-in-law in the future, right? Ning Yu became more and more excited as he spoke. You're dreaming. Ning Su lit a cigarette and slapped Ning Yu on the top of his head. The spaceship started, getting farther and farther away from the ground. Ning Su stared at Su Yanqi's small house until his vision completely disappeared. If at the beginning, he really thought that he could stand at the top with her, but now, he found that she was not only gifted in Mecca, but also had wealth and family background. This was the first time he felt ashamed of himself. Moreover, he felt that she was not interested in him. In front of such a girl, he did not even have the courage to pursue her. Perhaps no one in this world was worthy of standing shoulder to shoulder with her. Back at the Su family, Su's father was very happy that his daughter woke up, but he never mentioned the bombing. There was no change in the marriage between Su Cheng and Xinjia, but under the seemingly calm lake, there were actually undercurrents. The royal family made a request to Su's father, hoping that Su Yanqi could divide 5 planets for his sister as a dowry. Su's father directly refused. He had never heard of such a ridiculous thing as a sister giving a dowry to her sister. He did not tell his eldest daughter about these bad things. He was so worried that he could not sleep these 2 days. His daughter is too good, and people are jealous of her. He only regrets that he didn't work harder to make the Su family stronger when he was young. If he becomes the target of public criticism, he will not be able to defend anything. Alas! Su's father sighed for the 32nd time. Can you stop being so dead every day? Things will work out when the time comes. We, the first noble, don't need to be afraid of anyone. And have you forgotten that incident? If I were to say, you should tell your daughter about it directly. If anyone offends you, you should let him go to the mines. That's what you said, but... Alas! Su's father thought sadly, doesn't this make him seem a little useless as a father? The next day, Su's father told the queen's request in a sarcastic tone, and the eldest and youngest daughters frowned at the same time. Qinchang, the queen's request is too unreasonable. Do you still want this engagement? Su's mother asked. Su Cheng looked around at the 3 people. She had an idea, but she was afraid that her parents would object. I want to marry Xinjia, she said. The belated family affection was hard-won. Maybe her parents would hate her because of her persistence, but she also wanted to do something. There is no hope for a dowry, Su Yanqi said bluntly. Su Cheng was furious at her decisiveness. Who asked you to give a dowry? I don't care. I don't want your things. Anyway, if the royal family doesn't cancel the engagement, I will marry Xinjia. Oh, you don't want my things? I was thinking about waiting for my good sister to get married and giving her some delicious food, but it seems that I can't give it away. Su Yanqi pretended to be sorry and said TSK twice. Su Cheng was speechless, and then immediately broke her promise. Don't refuse it. I will definitely accept it if you want to give it to me. Just consider it as the cost of taking care of Su Yanqi's illness. Su's father and mother looked at each other and thought that their little daughter was in love and wanted to persuade her, but after thinking carefully, Xinjia was okay, and there was no need for the young people to pay for the disputes of their older generation. Marry if you want to. Little did they know that Su Cheng, who was regarded as in love, was thinking, marry Xinjia, give birth to an heir, she would be the future queen, and then see who dared to target the Su family. Xinjia was not as good as her, and it was not impossible to hold the emperor hostage to control the princes. Su Cheng was motivated again, thinking that she would take out a pen and paper to plan the whole big thing when she returned to her room, but she heard Su Yanqi say to her, Su Cheng, you are so familiar with Xinjia, ask him if he can get the surveillance of the Department of Agriculture on the day of the explosion. Su Chung wanted to ask why reflexively, but swallowed the words after meeting Su Yanqi's eyes. Got it. It's just right for Su Yanqi to investigate. She will let her know who dares to mess with her family. She will make her suffer. Things seem to have returned to the starting point. Except for the suspension of classes in the Department of Agriculture, there is no difference. Su Yanqi does not have to take the agricultural class, but she still has to take the elective course of the mecha department chosen by Shen Yunian. She scolded Shen Yunian from beginning to end in her heart. She took the small mecha assigned to her last time to the training ground for training. She hasn't seen Shen Yunian for so long. He may have gone back. Just thinking about this, she saw Shen Yunian in the crowd. He wore a black peaked cap, which blocked the exposed animal ears, and his whole face was so cold that strangers were not allowed to approach. Su Yanqi narrowed her eyes, and stared at him with her arms folded. Soon, Shen Yunian noticed her gaze, paused, and walked towards her. Miss, don't stare at me, Shen Yunian said with a headache. Su Yanqi is already a celebrity in the school, and many people are paying attention to her every move. After she kept staring at Shen Yunian, many people cast their eyes on Shen Yunian. Su Yanqi raised the corner of her mouth and pretended to be well-behaved. Can't I even look at it, brother? The word brother was neither loud nor soft, just enough for people around to hear. Shen Yunian rubbed his back teeth with the root of his tongue, and a dark light flashed in his eyes. I'm here to substitute for the class, Shen Yunian said. His peripheral vision had already discovered that someone was taking a photo of him, and Su Yanqi in the same frame. You deserve to be exposed, Su Yanqi said angrily. But she didn't continue to torture Shen Yunian, and stood farther away to prevent him from being exposed. The class was taught by Professor Mi, who asked the students to enter the mecha and familiarize themselves with the basic operations. Students entered the mecha cockpit to practice one after another, and Su Yanqi stayed where she was. She even forgot how to open the cockpit. Afraid of being noticed by the teacher, she hid behind the crowd with her mecha. An enthusiastic boy took the initiative to ask, Miss, do you need help? Su Yanqi waved her hand. After warming up, Su Chung slowly walked up to her and said with a sly smile, Sister, have you forgotten how to operate the mecha? Su Chung looked like she rolled up her sleeves and waited for Su Yanqi to say yes, I forgot. Can you help me? She started to show off her skills in front of Su Yanqi, so that she could stand out in front of everyone. Unfortunately, things did not develop as Su Chung thought. She is waiting for me. Two nice male voices overlapped. Su Chung looked up in confusion. Standing on the left was Ning Su, a crazy mecha soldier who had entangled with her before, and standing on the right was an unknown handsome guy. Su Chung, ? Why do people always interfere in their sisterly disputes? Chapter 61. Shen Yunian and Ning Su looked at each other. The former pursed his lips and said nothing, while the latter touched his nose. Ning Su looked at Shen Yunian. He had never seen such a person before. He should be someone who was not ranked. He actually wanted to learn from others to be a hero and save the beauty? It's all your fault. Su Yanqi curled her lips. Her expression was very vivid. Ning Su certainly didn't think she was talking to him, so the only person she was talking to was naturally the ordinary boy standing not far away. Ning Su stared at him again, but still couldn't find any information about this person from his memory. He didn't look like an aristocrat, so how could he be so familiar with Su Yanqi? Seeing that the man had walked forward after hearing Su Yanqi's words, standing beside Su Yanqi, muffled and buried his head in the operation of the mecha, Ning Su was a little unwilling and walked over. Do you need help? He knew that his inquiry was unnecessary, but he couldn't help but hold a little hope. Su Yanqi crossed her arms and said willfully, No, let him come. If it's too much trouble, just bear with it. Ning Su listened with mixed feelings. He was willing to bear this kind of trouble, but unfortunately, he didn't have the chance. The cockpit was opened. Shen Yunian pinched Su Yanqi's slender waist with both hands and lifted her up to help her reach the cockpit seat. The sudden increase in the sense of weightlessness made Su Yanqi scream out, and when she reacted, she grabbed the cabin door and climbed into the cabin with difficulty, cursing at the same time. Can't you make a sound? Your hand is so heavy, my waist is going to be broken by you. Next time for sure, Shen Yunian said, and jumped into the cockpit with a leap to help Su Yanqi review driving skills. Ning Su stood aside and watched. Everyone around was busy, but he was the only one standing in the wind. The man's tone was obviously doting. There were not many things in his eyes, except for the mecha and Miss Su. So far, he had never looked at him straight. Su Yanqi didn't seem to notice that the man touched her waist without permission, and she didn't get angry. If she fell in love with that unknown person, he thought he was no worse than anyone else, So could he give it a try? Shen Yunyan patiently taught Su Yanqi. Fortunately, although Su Yanqi didn't often come into contact with mechas, he was smart and could drive the mecha in a short while. It's okay, just practice more. Shen Yunyan said that completing the teaching task was to make up for the victims of course selection. He planned to give the rest of the time to Su Yanqi to figure it out by himself, and he would go to the mecha to study it. The mechas in the Imperial Military Academy were not the latest models, but the technology used was still decades ahead of Shinsha Star. If these technologies could be brought back to improve the mechas, the combat power of Shinsha Star would be greatly improved. Just as he was about to leave the cockpit, Su Yanqi stopped him. Shen Yunyan, why did you walk so fast that day? She asked. When asking, Su Yanqi did not look at him, but looked straight ahead, watching him driving the mecha with great concentration. If Shen Yunyan was not very sensitive to Su Yanqi's voice, he would almost think it was an auditory hallucination. His Adam's apple moved slightly. Which day? The day I woke up, Su Yanqi said crisply. Oh, I leave after completing the mission, Shen Yunyan said. Su Yanqi's action of turning the handle stabilized, and the mecha almost stumbled. After stabilizing the balance of the mecha, she said, But I haven't paid you yet. Shen Yunyan smiled. I've already received the reward. What? Shen Yunyan's tone was not fake, which made Su Yanqi almost doubt that he had already handled the transfer procedures for Shinsha Star. But I am still the Lord of Shinsha Star. Su Yanqi opened the intelligent brain and retrieved the information for him to see. The way Su Yanqi tilted her head made Shen Yunyan's fingers itch a little. He lowered his eyes and said, Cece's voice calling brother that day was very nice. The teasing brother brought Su Yanqi back to the memory of that day. If not, she almost forgot it. How dare he mention it in front of her? Turn the mecha into automatic driving. Su Yanqi turned around and said to Shen Yunyan, How do you calculate the reward? Isn't brother at a disadvantage? As she spoke, she approached Shen Yunyan. How about I give my brother a better reward? Innocent and a little charming, Shen Yunyan was pressed against the mechanical wall of the cockpit by Su Yanqi, who was slowly approaching him. Even so, Su Yanqi still did not stop approaching. The ever-shrinking distance made Shen Yunyan curious about what Su Yanqi would do. What was the reward she was talking about? A kiss? Or herself? Reason told Shen Yunyan that unless the star died and the universe exploded, Su Yanqi would never do that kind of thing. She would more likely kick him, which would be in line with her temper. But as the distance shortened, the space between the two people continued to compress, his brain was a little short of oxygen, the voice of reason was in danger, and he couldn't help but have a little delusion. Maybe she just wanted to kiss him. When the fiery red lips were about to reach his mouth, he couldn't help but respond, but he cleverly brushed past Su Yanqi's movements. Her lips were pressed against his ears, and her breath was exhaled, with a voice full of mischief. She said, Shen Yunyan, you are really a lustful person. This comment made Shen Yunyan's eyes darken. He really hoped that he was, so that he would forcefully press that soft waist into his arms. After the two returned to a safe distance, Shen Yunyan said hoarsely, Cece, don't seduce me, you have experienced it. I am an adult man, the consequences are very serious, and then you can't stop it just by shouting. After saying that, he took a deep breath and jumped out of the cockpit, making Su Yanqi, who was complacent about teasing Shen Yunyan, feel a chill on her back, as if she was coveted by something dark. Su Yanqi can now be sure that Shen Yunyan is interested in her, or the kind of person who is greedy for her body. It's hard to describe the feeling. There are many people who like her since childhood. Some are sincere and some are false. But one thing is certain, Shen Yunyan is different from these people. He is very straightforward about her body. God created the word lustful. Probably for him. But such a lustful person actually ran away after class. He likes her, but seems to be avoiding her. She is really curious about what he is thinking. The palace? As soon as Su Yanqi woke up, the queen received the news. She is still very lucky. The queen's mouth was tight, and the corners of her eyes were wrinkled. She asked someone to pass the message to the emperor, and the two quickly discussed countermeasures. The emperor drank a sip of water and said, if she died, things would be easy to deal with, but she is alive. How do the hospitals work? Isn't it said that she will never wake up, and she will be paralyzed for life if she wakes up? Now this person is alive and kicking. How does it look like she won't live long? Don't be angry. The key is that the person is awake now. What should we do? What else can we do? We can only hold our troops for now. There are always people who are more anxious than us. The emperor closed his eyes to rest. The queen had a different opinion. It is better to take the initiative than to hold our troops. As she said, she handed the message that had just been transmitted to the intelligent brain to the emperor. The emperor opened his eyes after being gently pushed, and saw the picture of Su Yanqi and a strange man standing side by side. They were a little far away, but the picture was very clear, and the man made him feel inexplicably familiar. He looked at the queen, who explained his confusion. Have you forgotten? This is your chief son. Even if he grew up, the queen could still tell at a glance. Why is he in the capital star? The emperor frowned unhappily. The queen slid the picture and guessed the relationship between the two. Not only did Shen Yunian return to the capital star, he also seemed to know Su Yanqi. It is needless to think that it is probably the good luck given to him by the royal gene. This kind of man who can show off and has some experience is most likely to attract the attention of silly and sweet girls. Don't rush to drive him away, the queen said. Why? What do you think? Don't forget, his mental power level is very high. It shouldn't be difficult for him to kill someone. The queen had a plan in an instant. The emperor understood immediately, smiled knowingly, and closed his eyes again. I'm relieved to leave it to you. However, he has been driven out of the house for so long, he may not be open to us. The queen said, money makes the devil go. As long as he has something he wants, he has weaknesses. He has been used to a hard life. How can he not yearn for the life of the upper class? She sent a maid to the Imperial Military Academy to block people, and Shen Yunian was invited to the queen's reception room without hesitation. I thought that the substitute teaching would be discovered, and then I found out that the exiles returned to the capital without permission, and the substitute teaching became insignificant. Shen Yunian wanted to laugh. Maybe he will be driven back. He stared at the woman, who looked much older, and had a gloomy face. Will the eldest lady choose to hide in the trunk and leave here with him this time, without the mission that must wake him up? She would not do such a crazy stupid thing. Shen Yunian thought with a little self-mockery. How did you come back? The queen asked. Shen Yunian did not answer. Of course, she didn't really want to know this question, but Shen Yunian's uncooperative expression angered her. You also met Su Yanqi? Unfortunately, she has been divorced by Xiaozhe. If you like, you can take her. The queen said half alms and half sarcasm. This statement really stepped on Shen Yunian's minefield. With a smell of iron oozing out of his mouth, he looked up at the queen. You talk too much nonsense, he said lightly. You speak to me in this tone, aren't you afraid that I will drive you back in anger? The queen threatened. Whatever you want. Shen Yunian has never had a good impression of anyone in the royal family. In addition, he guessed that the queen probably wanted something from him, so he gave him a warning first to make him obedient, but they all seem to have forgotten that the current Shen Yunian is no longer the weak, pitiful, and helpless 13-year-old child. The queen was so blocked that her heart tightened. Shen Yunian didn't respond. She felt a little helpless, and simply threw out an olive branch to tempt. Don't you want to return to the royal family? Shen Yunian raised his eyebrows. It seems that it is a very important matter, which makes the queen give him such a heavyweight benefit. Unfortunately, what others think is a great honor is just a useless empty check for him. It is much more interesting to see what the queen is up to than this reward. What do you want me to do? Hearing Shen Yunian ask this, the queen was relieved. She can also find someone else to do this, but Shen Yunian is the best candidate. First, he can get close to Su Yanqi, and second, his mental strength is very high. As long as the owner of the planet dies, the story can be written by the winner, and the 10 planets are just a piece of cake. Kill Su Yanqi, and you can return to the royal family. The queen is sure of victory, and she thinks Shen Yunian will agree without hesitation. Unexpectedly, Shen Yunian laughed wildly after hearing it. The queen sat in her seat. Did this person go crazy after being transformed into a beast? Or was he hit on the head by a great opportunity, and his mind was not clear? After laughing enough, Shen Yunian said, You continue. The queen suppressed her anger and said, I will hold a small banquet, and do it there when the time comes. Okay. Shen Yunian agreed. Little did he know that someone had proposed to him to kill Su Yanqi, and the benefits offered were 1,000 times better than returning to the royal family, but Shen Yunian did not want to do that. In this world, there are not many things he likes, and it would be a pity if they all disappeared one by one. He thought that someone would take this task, and if he took it, no one else would take it. After Shen Yunian left, the queen thought about it, and always felt that Shen Yunian's attitude was weird. She made 2 preparations, and directly issued a bounty order on the black market, and hired a very famous killer. Everything was ready, and the invitations to the banquet were scattered like snowflakes. One was sent to Su Yanqi, and the other was sent to Su Cheng. The 2 came out at the same time to receive their invitations. Su Yanqi saw Su Cheng and asked casually, What did Shinja say about the bombing? Su Cheng, who was eloquent in the past, was a little silent. After a long silence, she said, "This is your business, go ask it yourself." After that, she hurried upstairs, feeling a bit like running away. Su Yanqi was confused, but at the banquet in the evening, she understood Su Cheng's strangeness. Xinjie blocked her in the corner, looking aggrieved. "Cici, don't you care at all?" Xinjie was really unwilling. He thought that at least Su Yanqi would be sad for a while, but he didn't expect that he was the only one who couldn't get out. "In fact, if you say a soft word and shed a few tears, I will definitely choose to fight for you." Xinjie was full of alcohol, and seemed to have drunk a lot of alcohol before the banquet. "How long ago was that?" Su Yanqi pouted. "And what does fighting for you mean? Isn't it fighting for your own happiness? You are really heartless. It's only been a month or two." Xinjie's face turned red with emotion. "Besides, you don't talk to me anymore, and let Su Cheng ask everything. Can't we go back to the past? If you have anything to ask, can't you come to me yourself?" Su Yanqi's eyes widened. She didn't expect Xinjie to say such shameless words. "Do you want to hear what you are saying?" "Brother-in-law," she emphasized. Xinjie continued to talk to himself, and he didn't hear a word Su Yanqi said. Forget it. Su Yanqi didn't want to get entangled, so she took a deep breath. There was nothing to say to a drunkard, but she could take advantage of him being drunk to find out some useful information. "Then I ask you in person now. Tell me, where is the surveillance camera on the day of the explosion? Or, who is the mastermind behind the explosion?" Su Yanqi coaxed softly. When it comes to the explosion, Xinjie suddenly becomes shrewd and his eyes are much clearer. "Want to know?" he asked. Su Yanqi nodded. The soft and broken hair on her forehead looked very well behaved, as if it was yesterday when she was still his fiancée, and at that time, he still had this well behaved. "Kiss me, and I tell you, okay?" Xinjie said in a mysterious way. Su Yanqi's expression was as hard to judge as if she had eaten a fly. "Why didn't I notice Xinjie was so wretched before?" Su Yanqi snorted, too lazy to talk nonsense, turned around and left, but heard Xinjie anxiously behind him. "It's Yun Feng Xian." Seeing Su Yanqi stop, his tone was calmer. "Cici, why can't you take the initiative? Be like your sister, more considerate." Su Yanqi sighed. She didn't think Xinjie loved her that much. He just stood on the top of the mountain for too long. Whatever he wanted, someone would personally deliver it to him. Unfortunately, he didn't think that Su Yanqi's living environment was similar to his, and he even had a willful personality, since he was a child. None of them could put down their egos and become considerate. Before, Xinjie was willing, but after the comparison, his heart began to be unbalanced, and he still complained about Su Yanqi's willfulness. "Xinjie, people can't be too greedy," Su Yanqi said. "If you only want the part that benefits you, then this is not love, and you don't have to pretend to be affectionate all the time." Whether he was reflecting or embarrassed, Xinjie lowered his head. Su Yanqi sighed. "Thank you for your information." She was about to turn around and leave, but Xinjie grabbed her hand and pulled her into his arms. Worried about Su Yanqi, Shen Yunian came to the banquet venue early to wait. It was easy to find Su Yanqi in the crowd. He didn't plan to greet her. Shuttled through the crowd, his attention never left Su Yanqi's figure. Of course, he also saw Xinjie blocking Su Yanqi in an empty corner. Shen Yunian clenched his fingers. He was worried about her safety, but she was doing well, flirting with other women. Knowing that the eldest lady was powerful, the royal family would regret canceling the eldest lady's marriage. Who knows, they will change the marriage candidate again, and everything will return to the starting point. Shen Yunian didn't want to think about how happy Su Yanqi would be if she was accepted by the royal family again, nor did he want to see her current expression, but his eyes were so cheap that he saw the scene of the two people hugging each other out of the corner of his eye. At that moment, the noise of the guests around him suddenly fell silent, and he felt something withering in the dark corner, and then rapidly festering, a dark mass of unbearable. Push him away. This thought was like a surging tide, and it was hard to calm down in his heart. He wanted to go over and help her break free from the man's arms that were imprisoning her. Before Su Yanqi could make the next move, something unexpected happened, and a sharp arrow shot straight at her. Shen Yunian dodged and approached, but the distance was too far, and the crowd was in chaos because of this change, and they fled everywhere, looking for a safe place to hide, which greatly slowed his speed. Fortunately, Xinjie reacted quickly, holding Su Yanqi and retreating half a step, barely avoiding the arrow. The arrow was nailed into the gap in the wall, only half a centimeter away from Su Yanqi's head. Su Yanqi struggled away from Xinjie's arms, turned around and was blocked by the arrow, and happened to see Shen Yunian, who came to her side. She quickly ran behind Shen Yunian and said, "Someone wants to kill me." Shen Yunian wiped the cold sweat from his palm without a sound. "Do you believe me, Cici?" he said. Su Yanqi did not hesitate, believe. "Then leave it to me, we will exchange bodies." As he said, Shen Yunian suddenly leaned over and placed a gentle kiss on Su Yanqi's lips, and the warm breath left as soon as it touched, so fast that Su Yanqi thought it was an illusion. The vision became wider, she had entered Shen Yunian's body, and Shen Yunian took her body out of the banquet hall and left through the window, disappearing into the dark night, with a slender black shadow following him. It must be the killer. I hope Shen Yunian can solve the problem. Before Su Yanqi recovered, she was grabbed by the collar by the angry Shinja. "Why did you kiss her?" Su Yanqi was frightened by such a manic Shinja. Su Yanqi pulled Shinja's hand away. "I didn't kiss you. Why are you so anxious?" This question stumped Shinja. When Su Cheng received the queen's order to see the situation here, Su Yanqi said angrily, "Take care of your fiancé." Su Cheng, She glanced at Shinja, who murmured absent-mindedly, "Yes, she is no longer mine." "Su Cheng, are you polite? What should I do if my fiancé can't forget his old love for my cheap sister?" Cheng, you will always stay with me." "Yeah, I will." She is considerate. If Su Cheng didn't have a big plan in mind, she wouldn't want to play with this guy who is full of love. It's just that each of them gets what they need. He wants emotional value, and she needs to be the queen. She wants power, a lot of power. After the dinner, Su Yanqi took advantage of no one to go home with Shen Yunian's face, and lay on the bed worrying about Shen Yunian. Suddenly, a strange sound came from the window. She opened the window, and Shen Yunian jumped in. He was covered in blood and looked like he had fought a desperate battle. Shen Yunian did not use this to gain sympathy or ask her for any reward, but told her all the information he had obtained. "The royal family's handwriting, you better not trust them too much," Shen Yunian said. He admitted that he had selfish motives, but it was true. Su Yanqi had seen through the true face of the royal family long ago. If Shen Yunian didn't say it, she wouldn't trust anyone in the royal family. Seeing that Shen Yunian was safe and sound, she was more curious about another thing at the moment. "Why did you kiss me at the party?" She should have felt uncomfortable with his unreasonable behavior, but she didn't. Shen Yunian didn't look at her, and seemed very busy, tidying up the dirty clothes. When? He seemed to have forgotten, but Su Yanqi didn't intend to let him play dumb. If he forgot, she would remind him, "It was when we exchanged bodies." "Really? Did you kiss?" "I didn't notice it, maybe it was accidental." He seemed normal. Su Yanqi stared at Shen Yunian, and her casualness and indifference made her a little irritated. "What does it mean? Do something that makes people misunderstand, and then refuse to admit it. Will you accidentally roll on my mouth repeatedly?" Su Yanqi was dissatisfied. Perhaps because she didn't expect her to be so straightforward, Shen Yunian looked up at her, but chose to escape under her piercing eyes, and remained silent, not knowing how to answer this question. He guessed that she must be angry about being blasphemed by a lowly minor, and he found an excuse full of mistakes when she was questioning her, which was tantamount to adding fuel to the fire. He looked into her eyes, like a clear sky lake, with a familiar shadow reflected in it, making his despicable little thoughts nowhere to hide. He admitted that he just wanted to kiss her. But what he said was not what he meant. "Did you roll on me?" He tried to play dumb to the end. "I rolled on me, several times." Su Yanqi swore. Seeing that he still wanted to open his mouth to deny it, he took advantage of the fact that he was still in Shen Yunian's body, directly replayed the scene, and lowered his head to kiss her. "Just like just now, do you remember?" Su Yanqi raised her eyes. Shen Yunian froze in place, his thin lips slightly opened. His reaction made Su Yanqi very dissatisfied. "Change your body back," Su Yanqi said. Shen Yunian paused, and obediently changed his body back. Su Yanqi looked at Shen Yunian for a long time, then sighed. No matter what he did, she shouldn't give him a cold face when he saved her. "Thank you today. I will deal with the royal family's affairs." This sentence issued an order to expel him. Shen Yunian nodded, and jumped from the window he came from without saying a word. Su Yanqi stared at the dark window for a long time, feeling empty at his heart. It seemed that she was not angry because of what he did, but because he did nothing. Unable to bear the pungent smell of blood on her body, she went into the bathroom, cleaned up the discomfort on her body, and changed her clothes. Twisting the wet hair, Su Yanqi put aside her distracting thoughts, and began to think about how to solve the covetousness of the royal family, and the Yun family for the ore. They were already crazy, and wanted to kill her to seize the property. In order to ensure her personal safety, she first found a reliable security company and hired 20 personal bodyguards. For the dangerous views, or resources, she did not intend to hide it, and she planned to share it for a fee. Su Yanqi directly used the Star Network Lord account to publish the ore sales list. The price of the ore she sold was slightly higher than that of vegetables, but much cheaper than other ore energy on the market. This post was soon discovered by other nobles, and discussed in their own small groups. A 5-star coin for a blue crystal ore, half the price of the market price. How much ore does she have to sell like this? No wonder that person is targeting her. Then will you buy it? I think we should buy it. To be honest, no matter who wins the fight between gods, these ores may not fall on our heads. The royal family will definitely monopolize energy. On the contrary, it is better in the hands of the eldest lady of the Su family. She can still sell energy at a low price. Yes, if we spend less money, we can still replenish some energy. If it is really divided by the royal family and the Yun family, we are afraid that we can't even drink a hot soup. More and more people want to understand this truth and begin to speak out in support of Su Yanqi, asking the royal family to reinvestigate the bombing case and the assassination at the banquet. On these two issues, some nobles and civilians reached an unprecedented consensus. The royal family could not withstand the pressure and had to set up a special task force to reinvestigate the case and give the people a satisfactory answer. The royal family has been too tough recently, which has caused a lot of dissatisfaction. The civilian rebels took the opportunity to publicize the various shortcomings of the royal family and tried to win over the people. The growing civilian rebels made the royal family a little afraid to act rashly and dared not to be arrogant anymore. Instead, they adopted gentle means to stabilize the people's psychology, which led to them having to push a scapegoat out. Coincidentally, when Su Yanqi sold the ore, she rejected all the nobles who were related to the Yun family, which made the emperor guess that Su Yanqi already knew the whole story of the explosion. She is very powerful. The emperor didn't know that it was his son who leaked the secret, so he had to put pressure on the head of the Yun family. If you do something wrong, you must take responsibility, no matter if she is a noble lady or a commoner. The prince is guilty of the same crime as the common people. The head of the Yun family laughed at what he heard. It was especially ridiculous to hear this from the emperor, who was not innocent. The emperor wanted him to push his daughter Yun Fengxian out as a scapegoat. He didn't want to, but he couldn't. Now all the nobles can buy ore, and have begun to accept Su Yanqi's role as an ore merchant. Even if he wants to make this considerable wealth, he can't do it overnight. He needs this quota to buy ore first, and then slowly work on it. His daughter must be sacrificed, but he put this account on Su Yanqi. Unfortunately, he soon found that after his daughter was imprisoned, the right to buy ore was still not open to the Yun family. The head of the Yun family slammed the table angrily. What do you mean? Do you really think my Yun family is a sick cat? He went to the royal family to discuss countermeasures, but found that the royal family was not restricted from purchasing minerals. The head of the Yun family looked down on this little trick, but he still felt uncomfortable, especially after the royal family repeatedly prevaricated him and asked him to find a way to solve the mineral energy dilemma. He discovered a truth. Husband and wife are birds of the same forest, but they fly away when disaster strikes. Not to mention that the royal family and the Yun family are only a temporary interest group, and the alliance is not solid, because of the petty gains in front of them. The Yun family can only swallow their anger. The royal family will come up with another plan if one plan fails. The queen thought, if the hard way doesn't work, she can try the soft way. I found that Su Yanqi and your cheap son are having a secret affair. She touched the nail that was accidentally broken during the riot at the banquet. Let him assassinate Su Yanqi. Guess what? They actually nibbled in public. Why are you saying this? The emperor didn't like to hear the love history of these young people. I mean, we can have another marriage with the Su family, the queen said. Although their intention to bring the two sisters of the Su family into the royal family was too obvious, it would be okay to be thick-skinned in the face of interests. Are you saying that Xiaozha's marriage partner should be changed again? The emperor felt that it was inappropriate. It wasn't long since Shinja and Su Yanqi's affair happened, and now they are talking about changing it back. The two are still in an engaged relationship. What will others think? Anything that harms the reputation of the royal family is a big deal. It's not Xiaozha, it's that one who goes. Wouldn't it be a good match for the eldest prince, who is living outside, to be with the eldest daughter of the Su family? When she becomes a member of the royal family, she must make some contributions to the imperial power. The queen's calculations were jingling. The emperor suddenly felt that this proposal was good. Just like when Shen Yunyan was exiled, the two superiors never cared about what others thought, and they decided the fate of others with just a few words. However, the two parties were not obedient children, but adults who were not very obedient. Let me marry Su Yanqi. Shen Yunian was invited to the reception room for the second time, and what he heard was a more ridiculous request than the last time to kill Su Yanqi. I didn't complete the task, and you also let me return to the royal family? This question was a bit of a slap in the queen's face, but she didn't care about the inconsistency between her words and deeds. It was your royal father who thought you had a hard time these years and specially approved you to recognize your ancestors and return to your roots. At the banquet, I saw that you also liked the eldest lady of the Su family. If you can get married, wouldn't it be a closer relationship? Shen Yunian did not express his opinion, but only said, she won't agree. Such a glaring trap. A fool would not jump into it. Don't worry about that, I tell her. The queen finally smiled. After the queen dealt with Shen Yunian, she immediately sent someone to invite Su Yanqi. After waiting for a long time, the maid did not invite Su Yanqi, but instead brought her back a message. The palace is not safe, and she is afraid to go. Did she really say that? The queen was so angry that she fell backwards. Su Yanqi was raised as a daughter-in-law by her since she was a child. She was always respectful in front of her. She didn't go west when she said east. Now she dared to despise the majesty of the royal family, and openly refused her orders. However, now it is the royal family who needs help. They want other people's things, so they have to coax this canary. If only Xiaozha hadn't changed his marriage partner at that time. If it hadn't been so awkward, it would be easier to talk now. Xiaozha would have no problem coaxing her. With this assumption, when the queen was going to the Su family in person, she didn't refuse when Xinjia proposed to go with her. If Su Yanqi still liked Xinjia, wouldn't it be easier to coax her? The mother and son took a flying car to the Su family, but they were treated coldly here as never before. For Su's father, he was taught to be loyal to the royal family since he was a child. After being backstabbed by the royal family, although he didn't have any bad intentions for the time being, he was full of protest in his heart. He would no longer defend the supremacy of the imperial power without reservation as before. He didn't intend to interfere in the affairs of the juniors. When the queen visited, it would be up to the eldest daughter to deal with it. Cece, do you know who was the person who was close to you at the banquet the night before? The queen was too lazy to greet her. She had nothing to say to a junior. The queen pulled Su Yanqi to sit on the sofa, looking like a loving elder. Xinjia sat aside and listened silently. Su Yanqi was confused. Who? She seemed to have a feeling that the queen was talking about Shen Yunian. Has Shen Yunian's identity been exposed? He is in exile. If he returns to the capital planet without permission, he will be exiled again. Su Yanqi was nervous for Shen Yunian. But then, she was shocked by the queen's whimsical proposal. You said that I should marry Shen Yunian? Does he know? Su Yanqi's eyes flashed with 1,000 thoughts. The queen's intentions were obvious to everyone. It was nothing more than trying to win over someone when she failed. It was extremely shameful, but this was not what she really cared about. She never dreamed that the queen would be desperate and actually start to match people up. Let's just say it's a mess. If that person is Shen Yunian, it doesn't seem unacceptable, at least it's better than Xinjia. Su Yanqi strangely digested this matter that no noble lady could accept, that she would marry a prince who had been wandering for decades. Seeing Su Yanqi silent for a long time, the queen said again, or, it's not impossible for you to resume your engagement with Xiaozha. Su Yanqi tilted her head and glanced at Xinjia. The latter looked at her with hope. So why did this marriage come to Xinjia instead of Shen Yunian? Su Yanqi is not a fool. Could it be that the queen seemed to be matchmaking for her and Shen Yunian, but actually wanted her to rekindle her old love with Xinjia? She got goosebumps all over the floor for her own guess. It turns out that the royal family can throw away all their face and dignity for the sake of interests, and they have no principles. When the marriage proposal came out, the one who opposed it the most was Su's father. Is it not enough for me to marry one of my daughters to the royal family? I have to marry both of them? Do you royal family have any shame? Su's father was so angry that he said something he didn't want to say. The queen cursed inwardly. This old man. He is really an eyesore. It is an honor for the daughters of the Su family to marry into the royal family. Others would love it, but he actually despises it. She was not expecting it in her heart, but she still looked kind on the surface. Before Su Yanqi could speak, she hurriedly decided, if you are not satisfied, why not just leave it as it is, or follow the previous arrangement? Xiaozha and Cece will marry, and don't change anything at all. Su Yanqi was shocked by the shamelessness of the royal family, and didn't say anything. She saw Su Cheng's half-covered face from the corner of her eyes, and felt a little sorry for her. Although Su Cheng didn't get along with her, she was her biological sister after all, and she was a member of the Su family. When she was bullied like this, she lost her sharp tongue when she talked to her. She sat in a corner of the sofa and said nothing. But Shinja didn't know what kind of madness he had, and he didn't even stop the queen's intention. The parties involved were a little speechless, only Father Su was the most emotional. Isn't that a joke? I don't agree. Hearing this, the queen did not get angry, half gently and half threateningly. Duke Su, please allow me to remind you that we are on the same boat. Father Su insisted on rejecting the queen's proposal, but the queen didn't care and just said, Duke Su, please excuse me. It is unknown what the two discussed, but they finally reached an agreement that the royal family and the Su family's marriage candidates would return to the original, with Su Yanqi and Shinja marrying. After sending the queen away, Father Su felt ashamed to face his two daughters. Okay, it's just back to the original state, nothing has changed. Father Su lied to himself. Unfortunately, everything can no longer go back to the way it was before. For Su Yanqi, having tasted the taste of jumping out of the cage of the prince's fiancé, she no longer wanted to be disciplined as a well-educated woman behind the prince, and even more unwilling to devote everything for the selfish royal family. She wanted to be a lord, have her own people, and create a world completely different from the one ruled by the royal family, a world not shackled by others, a world where she could see smiling faces and hope. For example, the Cinnabar star, and the 10 useless stars she now owns. She wanted to be herself forever. Such an idea might be a joke in the eyes of others, but Su Yanqi had been suppressing it in her heart for more than 10 years. It was hard to hope that it would break through the ground, but now it was going to be strangled in the cradle. She was no longer the child who did whatever the adults said. This time, she would never obey the arrangement. Hey Su Cheng, do you still want to marry into the royal family? Su Yanqi asked. Su Cheng looked up in a trance, then clenched his teeth. You want to laugh at me, then laugh at me. Su Yanqi, don't think you beat me. If I were like you, with my parents by my side since childhood, receiving aristocratic education, and being pampered since childhood, you would definitely not be able to beat me now. Do you really need my approval? Su Yanqi suddenly interrupted, and the question he asked made Su Cheng stunned. Have you ever heard a saying? If you are beautiful and someone says you are ugly, you will not be angry because you know that others are jealous of you. If you are really ugly, you will be very angry because what others say is the truth. Su Yanqi said, so, you don't have to prove your strength by snatching things from me. What do you mean? Su Cheng's body was suddenly thorny. You mean I am jealous of you? Ha ha ha, how is it possible? Everything you have is originally mine, isn't it? If it was you who got lost back then, would you still be in the mood to talk about big principles here? You don't even know what happened before. So what happened? Su Yanqi asked, what made you reborn and return to the present, and have such great hostility towards me? How do you know? Su Cheng's pupil shrank into needlepoints quickly, and she looked at Su Yanqi defensively. That was the biggest secret she had hidden in her heart. After saying this, Su Cheng stopped talking. She felt palpitations and a chill on her back. It was not until this moment that she realized that Su Yanqi had many secrets. She was not like the person in her memory. She knew too many things. Was there anything she didn't know? Are you going to kill me? Su Cheng asked. Even if she didn't want to admit it, she had to admit that she was completely defeated in front of Su Yanqi. She had never been better than her, whether it was life, parents, the person she liked, or the opportunity she could only dream of. God favored Su Yanqi so much, as if other people were dispensable weeds, and she was the incomparable precious flower. This kind of unique advantage made her stop asking why. Why should I kill you? Su Yanqi was at a loss for what to do with Su Cheng's paranoia. Don't you hate me for targeting you like that? Su Cheng said. It's okay, you just have a bad mouth and like to pick up trash in the trash can. Su Yanqi said. Su Cheng was so angry that he didn't know whether to laugh or scold back, and finally laughed out of anger. Okay, I don't care about other things and don't want to know. Back to the question just now, do you still want to marry Shinja? Su Yanqi asked. Yes. Su Cheng did not hesitate at all. Then let's have a big one. Su Cheng looked at Su Yanqi, who was beaming with joy. For the first time, she felt that the bright and flamboyant beauty was so pleasing to the eye. How to play? She asked inexplicably. You will know soon. The more familiar Su Cheng was with Su Yanqi, the more she felt that she was a strange person. She had never thought that Su Yanqi did not like Shinja at all, and even proposed to let her marry in his place, which was a shocking and treasonous thing. So, the Su Yanqi she saw in her previous life, who was spoiled and arrogant, and looked down on everyone, seemed to be happy to be the most honorable queen in the world, but she was unwilling in her heart. Su Cheng was really surprised to find this out. How could she not be happy? If she had such supreme power, she would wake up laughing in her dreams. No matter what Su Yanqi thought, the marriage gave her a chance. Although she knew that this kind of secret behavior would displease the royal family and make her life difficult in the future, she still agreed without hesitation. She wanted power. In this life, she wanted to be the sharp knife and not the weak fish. Perhaps it was because the queen pointed to Shen Yunian for marriage, and he was kept in the palace. Apart from that, life was no different. Every day, I went to the Imperial Military Academy to take classes, and occasionally walked around the streets. Sometimes I would see Su Yanqi, but she didn't seem to notice him, and her eyes never stayed on him. Shen Yunian laughed at himself, returned to the palace, and walked along the corridor. No one paid attention to him, as if he was a transparent person and no one could see him. Today's corridor is a little different, with many more decorations. Shen Yunian stared at a large string of colorful lights at the corner, grabbed a hurried guard, and asked, "Are there any major festivals recently?" The guard followed Shen Yunian's line of sight and understood instantly. "You were talking about that, don't you know? His Royal Highness the Prince and the Su family's daughter are going to hold a wedding. This is definitely a wedding of the century. There will never be such a grand wedding again." Knowing the reason, Shen Yunian let go of the guard's hand, a little dazed. Somehow, after walking for a long time, he actually walked to the queen's bedroom. These days, the queen has forgotten him to the sky and has never summoned him. When she heard the maid's announcement, the queen was still a little unresponsive. "Oh, call him in," the queen said. Shen Yunian had heard her words outside the door, and walked in without waiting for the maid to convey it. Before he opened his mouth, the queen took the initiative. "Are you here to ask about the wedding?" The queen pointed out his purpose, and Shen Yunian did not answer, so she took it as her acquiescence and continued, "Originally, I wanted to choose you, but unfortunately Miss Su still likes Xiaozha more. After all, they grew up together, and know each other better, so there is nothing for you here. Your father does not intend to pursue you for leaving the place of exile without authorization. Just go back within 7 days. Hey, are you listening?" The queen knocked on the table lightly, and the sound made Shen Yunian come back to his senses. "Okay. Then you go back first." The queen was impatient to talk to him more. If a person loses his usefulness, he can be thrown away like garbage in her place. After Shen Yunian left, a maid said disdainfully, "You don't really think you can return to the royal family to be the eldest prince? No matter how you look at it, he is not as good as the second prince. A toad wants to eat swan meat." The queen snorted. Shen Yunian did not go far, and the voice did not avoid him, obviously speaking to him on purpose. Yes, they grew up together, and were childhood sweethearts. One is a royal family member, and the other is a minor. You can figure out which one to choose without thinking. Besides, she dislikes commoners the most, so it is reasonable for her to choose to marry Shinja. Shen Yunian returned to the room, and it was so quiet that it was outrageous. The whole space seemed to freeze even the air, and only the noise came from far away. This scene seemed familiar. He sat there for an unknown amount of time, before he remembered that there was still one thing he hadn't done. "TSK, I still have to ask her for payment." She said that she would give him the Cinnabar star as a reward for helping her go home. A planet is worth hundreds of thousands of star coins, and he needs to meet her, and deal with these remaining issues. Shen Yunian was speechless all the way from the palace to the Su family, climbed over the wall into the courtyard, climbed up to the second-floor window with ease, knocked, and the window opened from the inside, revealing a beautiful face. "Why are you here?" Su Yanqi asked, while making room for Shen Yunian to come in through the window. Shen Yunian pursed his lips. "I'm here to get the payment." Su Yanqi just remembered that the transfer procedures for the Cinnabar star had not been completed. "Oh, this is very simple." She turned on the smart brain, called up the document, signed it herself, and asked Shen Yunian to sign it, and the ownership of the Cinnabar star was transferred. "Very soon," Shen Yunian said inexplicably. Su Yanqi nodded. Somehow, she always felt that Shen Yunian's voice was inexplicably low today. She was busy arranging the substitute marriage these 2 days, and never paid attention to Shen Yunian. Did he encounter something? What's wrong? Do you have anything to say to me? Su Yanqi was embarrassed by Shen Yunian's straight eyes. "It's not a big deal, but I may have to go back to Qinsha Star, and won't be lucky enough to watch this century's wedding," Shen Yunian said. "Oh, it's really not a big deal," Su Yanqi said. Su Yanqi went over the substitute marriage plan in her mind again, and with her eyes downcast, she missed the loneliness that flashed across Shen Yunian's face. "Does the eldest lady like him so much?" Shen Yunian asked. Su Yanqi realized it later, and felt a sour taste in these words. "What's wrong?" Nothing, let's go. Shen Yunyan turned around, waved his hand casually, jumped up, and disappeared into the thick night. He didn't leave the Su family immediately. He stopped at Su Yanqi's window for a moment, and found that she didn't look out, so he quickly closed the window. Yes, she was finally able to draw a clear line with people like him. She was probably relieved and wanted it. When the lights in Su Yanqi's room were turned off, Shen Yunyan went in through the window again and looked carefully in the dark for a long time. From now on, they are thousands of miles apart, so let him be greedy for the last time. Cece. After all, it doesn't belong to him. Shen Yunyan lay in the palace for a day, didn't go out to hang out, didn't go to class, didn't do anything, but the festivity and excitement of the wedding infect the entire palace by any means, and every place is so annoying. Rather than being unhappy here, it is better to leave as soon as possible. He mentioned the matter of leaving to the queen, and the spaceship immediately stopped outside the room where he lived, as if it couldn't wait to send him away. Shen Yunyan was a little speechless, still as unfeeling as ever. After spending half a day out shopping for some necessities, and bringing them back to Cinnabar Star, he boarded the spaceship and left this cold palace. Before leaving the capital star, he couldn't help but look in the direction of the Su family. A huge waiting starship was slowly heading there. This marriage was decided quickly and held quickly. The royal family was probably afraid that something might change if it was delayed. After all, the eldest lady is now a hot commodity. Compared with the lively capital star, sailing in the universe is a very boring thing. When I came here, Su Yanqi was chattering in my ear, asking curious questions. When I returned, I realized how dark and depressing the quiet universe was. In the spaceship, there was only his reflection and his breathing. She should be very happy that she got what she wanted. Shen Yunyan turned on the music in annoyance, but accidentally clicked on the radio. The host inside was live broadcasting this interstellar wedding jointly organized by the nobles and the royal family. He could turn it off, but his hands had already returned to the steering wheel, listening to the description of the bride in the radio. He even couldn't help but think, is it too late to take her soul and eat it now? Target host, of course it's too late. Do you want to eat it? The system went online. Get lost. After Shen Yunyan spoke, the system disappeared. The space returned to tranquility. Not long after leaving, he felt nostalgic. Sure enough, he shouldn't be a good person. He should have snatched it away, but he didn't want to see her eyes full of disgust for him. You knew I was here a long time ago. A familiar voice suddenly came from behind Shen Yunyan. He turned back suddenly, froze for a moment in disbelief, and almost let the spaceship deviate from the course. The heroine who should have been at the century wedding scene was now in his spaceship in a simple dress, with messy hair and sweating, looking at the person who had just climbed out of the trunk. Miss got on the wrong spaceship? Shen Yunyan couldn't think of any other reason. If I said it was right, would you still let me go? Su Yanqi was not sure whether Shen Yunyan's indifference just now was directed at her. Shen Yunyan almost didn't understand what Su Yanqi meant. When she reacted, she realized that she heard the go away he said to the system, and misunderstood that he said it to her. Shen Yunyan restrained himself and turned the spacecraft to autopilot, but he couldn't hide the joy of regaining what he had lost. He gave up the last bit of reason. No matter why she appeared here, he just wanted to hold her tightly in his arms. In fact, he did so. It was as if he wanted to rub her into his bones. I'm a little breathless, Shen Yunyan. Su Yanqi hummed twice, and Shen Yunyan loosened his strength. But he didn't let go of her, just half-hugged her, as if he had an incurable disease of skin hunger. Su Yanqi did something she had wanted to do for a long time. She tiptoed gently and kissed his thin lips. Once someone takes the first step, the rest will come naturally. Shen Yunyan deepened the kiss, no longer the kind of stupid and crazy kiss before. This time it was a deep, lingering kiss between the teeth. It was a life-and-death kiss, and every part of the mouth was filled with the taste of the other party. Inside the spaceship, the live broadcast of the century wedding was still going on, and the host excitedly shouted, "Please kiss the bridegroom." As if they had received some kind of command, the battle between the two became more and more intense, until they were exhausted, and a suspicious silver thread flowed out from the corner of their mouths, holding between the two. Outside the spaceship, the starry sky near the navigation track suddenly shone, hiding the sun's light, like a late guest, suddenly becoming lively, presenting the small spaceship with a grand scene of stars congratulating it, and pulling it all the way to the bright other side. The ceremony is over.